does. It kind of does, though.
Now, here are your hosts, Brock Eward and Mike Salk.
Hello! All right, hi, good morning. Hello, everybody. Brock and Salk Show, Seattle Sports on 710. SeattleSports.com, Seattle Sports app, all the podcast platforms out there as well, plus YouTube and anywhere else that you like to find the video of the show. And, of course, 97.3 HD2, another great way to listen here in crystal clear, high-definition radio if you're in Seattle. Sounds really good. It's how I generally consume this station. Geesh, lots of ways we could start the show today. I was gonna try to hold off on the thing that really kind of got under my skin last night because I don't want to always start the show ranting and raving, right? That's not right. I mean, and there's plenty of opportunity to do so later. So just know, as I read through some of these texts from last night, that it's taking all of my willpower and essentially has since the second inning last night not to just go on a full-on, I can't believe they bunted in the second inning of a game against the Yankees rant. Because, like, as you go through it, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So understand that it's coming. I'm going to try to wait till 6:45 or so to give you that rant. But it's coming, I promise, because it was like an indefensible thing that occurred last night. It's not necessarily the reason they lost that game. Maybe it is. Who the heck knows? But it was... That's just an indefensible decision. I can't come up with a reason why you would bunt in that spot last night, given all of the other circumstances surrounding. And I am not quite as far on the I hate bunting train as Lyle. I don't like it. I don't like trading outs. But I think there are times where with runners on first and second, nobody out, or runner on second, nobody out, and tie game late, close game late, that there are times to do that. Last night fit none of those categories. None. So maybe we'll come back to that in a little bit. Certainly at 6:45. I got a whole bunch of texts. I told you I like reading the texts that come in kind of late at night as people are watching the game. I guess not always late, but just during the game. I like reading the texts that come in. Let's see. Yo, Salk. I just want to say that Julio should have caught both of Grisham's home runs, and Dan left Hancock in to too many batters in the fifth. Very frustrating. I'll give you the first one. Julio probably could have. Should have that's a reach. Should have. You never should have brought back a home run. He could have. It would have been a nice play. Did he leave Hancock in too long in the fifth? Yeah, but game one of a series against the Yankees. Look, I as I said, I'm going to be incredibly critical of the move in the second inning to bunt. But I understand. Obviously, it didn't work. Leaving Hancock in that game as long as he did. Maybe you got to get him out a batter or two sooner. I understand why, given how many short starts they've had, Dan is trying to get a little bit of length from a starting pitcher. And to be fair, Hancock's probably been their second best starting pitcher for the last couple of weeks. He was not quite up to the task of going in, 5, 6, 7 innings against the Yankees. Few pitchers are right now. That lineup is on fire. Another reason why bunting makes no sense in the second inning. But I understand that he knows he's in the middle of a 6-game stretch without a day off. They've just gotten beat up by the Blue Jays. They're giving up runs left and right. A lot of people wondering, why do you leave Hancock in that long? I think that's why. I don't necessarily disagree. Certainly there's a lot of frustration when you watch it, and I'm probably right there with you. Like, all right, let's go. Is somebody else going to come into this game? But I'm going to guess that's sort of the theory is, hey, we just don't want to, you got to get some length. You don't want to go to your bullpen right away knowing how much you're going to need them here over the next couple of games against the Yankees. And we've seen this team lose the first game of a series and then bounce back and win the next two. And sometimes you got to concede in order to do it. 212 says Dan Wilson's inexperience is a problem. Conceding it out in the bottom of the second to advance runners after back-to-back walks was a horrible strategy. Not having anyone else stretching in the pen is same theory. Yeah, I like not disagreeing really with anybody in here. I'm gonna try to give Dan the benefit of the doubt on leaving the pitcher in, but I think I see some real mistakes. I don't love the way, some of the in-game strategy looks. 520, which is Arizona, says it's amazing how all of a sudden they don't look so good. Yeah, no kidding. So let's think about that. I did find myself thinking about this little 4-game losing streak here. And I got maybe 2 analogies. One, Lyle and Moore, I don't know that you guys will relate to this one as much, but I'll throw it out there anyway. I'll ask the question and just know it's not necessarily directed at the two of you because it starts with, have you ever started a round of golf? And I know, Maura, most of your golf rounds are really just animal cruelty.
Oh, my gosh.
And Lyle, I know you're not a big golfer, though sometimes you play. So I would just say if you ever start a round of golf with a bunch of great holes, you start feeling really good, right? You get the confidence like, oh, I'm on today. This is a stripe show. This is a ball striking clinic. I'm striking these irons. The ball's going where I want it to. Maybe I've hit a couple putts. Maybe the driver's well, probably not. But you're doing all the things that you want to do. You start feeling really good about yourself. And then you start getting close to that 9th hole or so, and you start looking at the score, which you should never do, but you do it anyway. And you're going, man, I'm like near a personal best. If I just par one of these next 3 holes, I'm going to end up shooting under 40 here on the front, and then we'll see what happens on the back. Maybe I'm finally going to break 80. At least that's my theory. That's what I'm hoping for. And then you start doing the math, and then you start projecting, and then you start to get tight because you start thinking about it a little bit. You start realizing, hey, I've never really played all this well before. And then you have one bad hole, right? You blow up a little bit, maybe you double bogey or whatever. And then you start to tighten up, and then you worry that the rest of the bad intrusive thoughts start coming in, right? They're creeping into your mind. And the next thing you know, the back 9 does not look anything like the front 9. And you end up shooting like 41, 47 and being pretty frustrated. Not that I'm speaking specifically about myself. Oh, wait. Yes, I am. That's kind of, one way this can go. That's kind of what it's looked like here over the last 4 games. As, some of the injuries that they were able to overcome and the pitching staff, are starting to loom a whole lot larger. As pitching has become a major issue. They're giving up 8 runs a game during this 4-game losing streak. I can sit here and complain all I want about a bunt in the 2nd inning, but if you're going to give up 8 runs a game, you're not going to win. That's not a sustainable model for anybody in Major League Baseball and ever in the history of the game. Can't give up 8 runs a game. Non-starter. And I know that, the conversation in town for the last few years has been offense, but pitching is still, or baseball is still built on pitching. I'm not going to give up on that. Pitching. And if you can't pitch, you can't win in baseball. Not a thing. Got to have starting pitching night in, night out to give yourself a chance. And then you got to add the offense on top of that. But without pitching, forget it. You can't give up 8 runs a game. What, you're going to ask your offense to score 9? Again, not a real thing. Not a real thing in Major League Baseball. So, yeah, some of those injuries in your rotation are obviously hurting. Obviously. And there is that fear that, look, this offense was so far out over its skis for so long that it was eventually going to come back to earth. And I think we are starting to see some of that, of course. Right? I mean, like, that was not a surprise. We went through all the numbers yesterday of all the guys who were like double their previous averages in so many categories. That's not gonna happen over the course of a full year. I'm glad Polanco's still hitting. I'm glad Julio's starting to hit up. But the offense is going to, balance out. The other one is, I don't know, maybe a basketball team that keeps taking 20-point leads in a playoff series against one of their rivals and then finds ways to blow it night after night. That just seemed like the other analogy that made sense after seeing that the Celtics lost again. But I do think that there's that fear of, hey, do you start having some of those intrusive thoughts when some of the early confidence starts to fade? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where the Mariners are going to go next. They could win the next 2 games against the Yankees and be just fine, right? You got Brian Wu going tonight, then a rubber match tomorrow. I know you got to face Max Fried tonight, but you can win that game. Maybe you scratch one out. We've seen this team come back. Heck, even last night, down whatever it was, 8-3, they didn't give up. I give them a lot of credit for that. They could have waved the white flag in that game. They didn't. They kept scratching and clawing, and you get it back to 8-5. I know you immediately gave the 2-run home run back, but you get that game to 3 runs, and you knock out a pitcher, and you're like, hey, maybe, who knows? Maybe you do find a way back into this one, sort of like the Yankee win last year where they clawed their way back. It's possible, but, probably not to be. That Yankee lineup just seems to keep coming and coming and coming and coming at you. And so, yeah, all right, it doesn't happen. But I give the Mariner credit. I give them credit for not just going away last night, which they could have. But you can't give up 8 runs a game. And you really can't bunt in the second inning against the Yankees. And we'll go through all the different reasons why that was ridiculous yesterday, because it's like bad on 5 or 6 different levels. It's really remarkable. It just makes no sense. Anyway, we got a lot to do today. Jeff Passan's going to be with us at 8:30. We are going to talk to Mariners first base coach Eric Young, EY Jr. Is going to join us at 9:30, hear a little bit about how aggressive they've been, and I'm excited to chat with him. So stick around. We got a lot still to come. We'll give you everything you need to know next on Brock and Salk.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Even the guys that if you look at their average and go, they're not off to a good start, look at the on base. This team has been outstanding at working the pitcher, at taking walks. You look at Randy Arozarena, for instance. He's had huge hits. He's had some big moments that have been game-winning moments, but overall, he's not hitting that well. He's hitting 208, but he's got a 359 on base.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Upgrade your home cooling before the summer heat with Home Comfort Alliance and save up to $6,000 while taking 18 months to pay with 0 interest. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com. That's HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Jaden Schwartz for Techline Roofing. The ice may have melted, but spring is the perfect time for a new roof. Call Techline Roofing. Take advantage of our easy financing and our spring special. That's TEKLINE roofing.com.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen.
And this is Sarah Beth.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese,
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads, great for you, and so easy you can put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage, weird, but still a salad. 1 radish and a couple of green beans, also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke? Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims, like Alex. At just 16, she suffered trauma after a broadside collision with a delivery truck.
When I came in, they were so nice. They were just like, don't worry about anything. We'll take care of that. It's gonna be okay. Live your high school life. We got your back. And they did. I would recommend Rob because they have a passion for caring for people.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
When you have really good leaders, it makes it easy.
Gia arrived at Lee Johnson after 10 years at another dealership.
You know your job, but then you have people who you can rely on to help you with the big stuff that you need that support from. And I've gotten that every day with my service manager, with our assistant service manager, with even like our GM and our GSM. The way that, we're now on the showroom together, we are so close-knit just as a department. My service manager here, he's always open to teach you whatever you want to know. He just wants everybody to do good around him, and if somebody wants to learn something, I'm here to do it. And I've never had a service manager like that before. They're really good at promoting from within. That's one thing that I've learned from working here. I see people start out as a lot porter, and then people work their way all the way up to being a general manager.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
The first Mariners fireworks night is coming up, and we're starting things off with a bang. Be here on Friday, May 30th for our K-Pop fireworks show, presented by T-Mobile, after the team takes on the Twins at 7:10.
Jorge Polanco, his second home run of the night. He is absolutely on fire.
Get ready for an epic dance party as we light up the sky with a post-game show powered by the biggest global hits. Visit mariners.com/fireworks to get your tickets today.
This hour is brought to you by Community Transit.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Well, that little 3-game losing streak unfortunately grew to 4 last night as the Mariners are just not having this homestand that they had planned on. Once again, the starting pitching, the biggest problem, or at least the biggest issue, Emerson Hancock ran into it in the 5th.
The 1-2. Swung on. Cracked. Center field. Julio back. He's at the track. He spins around at the wall, makes a leap. It's gone. Austin Wells, a 3-run home run. The Yankees have exploded here in the 5th. They had 3 more on the board. It's 7-2 New York. A 6-run 5th inning.
Yeah, it just kind of kept spiraling, unfortunately, on Mr. Hancock. Gives up 6 runs in that inning, 7 overall. Team did score 5, but that wasn't enough. Yankees got 11. They get to 11 runs off the non-leverage portion of the pen. Emerson Hancock afterwards understands that's a tough lineup.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of respect for them and their lineup. That's a very deep lineup, and they kind of just got some momentum going, and it just kind of kept going. And, for me, you got to keep attacking the strike zone. Sometimes, they're ready for that first pitch, and they made some good swings. I made a couple mistakes, and they made me pay for it. But at the end of the day, you got to keep going after them. And, I'll wear this one, and you didn't really give us a chance to win. But, baseball is what it is. And you move on, you keep working, and show up tomorrow and see what happens.
100%. 32 runs, though, the Mariners now given up during this 4-game skid, as I said. Pretty tough to ask your offense to score more than 8 runs per game. Scary moment in the 9th inning. Oswaldo Cabrera needed an ambulance out on the field. Awkward slide while scoring on a sac fly. Ended up having his leg immobilized in an air cast before eventually being taken off in a stretcher. Just not a great moment at all. Tough to watch. Could be a very good pitching matchup, though, tonight. Yankees lefty Max Fried has been incredible so far. 6-0 with an ERA just over 1. He's been tremendous. Mariners will counter with Brian Wu.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Meanwhile, as you are starting to look for some health there in the starting rotation, a couple of injured Mariners starters are progressing. George Kirby, no problems after his 54-pitch outing last weekend, and he will take his next rehab start Friday for Tacoma. Assuming that goes well, he would then be on track to return to the team the following week in Houston. So not exactly a soft landing. I think we thought he might pitch this Thursday and then go again in Chicago for his first start, but instead it looks like they want him to start for the first time against the Astros. As for Logan Gilbert, plans to throw his first bullpen session today, so great news there. Threw off a mound to a standing catcher yesterday. No word, though, on a possible rehab start yet. He's felt good so far. Again, throwing full speed, and the recovery from that will obviously be the key. Got to make sure that UCL, that forearm and into the elbow is totally fine. But yes, they could really use those two guys back right now with the starting rotation, just not looking like we've seen here for the past 2, 3, 4, almost 5 years.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Good news for the Seahawks. They're making progress, signing their enormous draft class of 11. 8 of those guys are now under contract, including first-rounder Grace Zabel. That's good news. These deals are honestly pretty much decided ahead of time. There's very little wiggle room now for rookies in the NFL. You just kind of sign what's given to you. That's slotted that way, but they still have 3 to do. Eamon, Arroyo, and Milroe are the 3 left unsigned. I would assume that gets done shortly. Zabel's deal, by the way, for those of you counting at home, 4 years worth almost $18.5 million. Fully guaranteed. Schedule coming tomorrow. None of the leaks yet have involved the Seahawks, and indeed, they won't play any international games. How about the Vikings? They're going to have to play back-to-back in London and in Dublin. First team to do that in the NFL. Let's see. The NBA had their draft lottery last night, and it was super sketchy.
The second pick will be made by the San Antonio Spurs, and that means that the number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA draft goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
What do we think? Fixed?
I have always been a huge believer in that the NBA lottery's rigged.
Right.
Always.
They had a 1.8% chance.
And the fact that they had just traded a star to the spotlight team of the Yankees, the Lakers. Pretty sketchy, man. Pretty sketchy. We're also waiting to see whether or not the Kraken are going to get a head coach. We mentioned Rick Tockett's name yesterday. Elliot Friedman, 32 Thoughts podcast had more.
Also heard a good line about Rick Tocchet. The line I heard on Tocchet, it made me laugh, is he's not interviewing with teams. He's interviewing teams. Basically, he's interviewing them more than they're interviewing him. I think Seattle had a lot of interest in him. I'm not convinced that's going to happen.
No, it doesn't sound like he's got a lot of interest in coming here. That is everything you need to know. 1:15 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. You getting fired up over there, Lyle? You all right? The draft lottery get you?
I've just always been a huge believer in that. Like, there's a lot of things about the NBA that I think are a little soap opera-ish, but the lottery, I mean, I've watched YouTube videos on this for years where there's like handfuls of drafts. It's like there was the year Anthony Davis got drafted. Remember the Hornets couldn't sell the team. It was run by the league at that point with this absolute generational superstar who was known to go, like, everybody knew was going to go number 1. And magically, Hornets get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that, man. I mean, the frozen ping pong ball with Patrick Ewing is sort of the most famous, but yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of sketchiness. And plus, let's try to remember, this is the only league in the last 50 years to have had a legitimate, referee fixing games scandal. Nobody ever talks about it, but they legitimately had a referee fixing games. Crazy. And everyone's just like,
that's
whatever,
a little
no
different than like the league would have to be involved in this.
Well, I don't know, like just it is different. It's not exactly the same. But it is, to me, part of a sketchiness with that league that is pervasive.
Apparently, Adam Schefter was on Unsportsmanlike this morning, the show that's on before us, and said that the NFL could consider a draft lottery at some point.
I mean, draft lotteries do make some sense, and they're exciting, and I don't necessarily have a problem with them, but, they've got to be legitimate. And I think hockey this year, the NHL, it was a transparent process. Part of the NBA's problem is it's not transparent. It all happens, behind the scenes. That's the thing that's so sketchy about it all. Anyway, all right. Let's see. I will talk about what really drove me crazy last night. We'll do that coming up in 20 minutes here after Aaron Goldsmith next on Brock and Salk.
Bump and Stacy.
Jason Churchill joining us now. Might we be staring at a potential gap where you're still waiting on production from your pitchers and the offense has come back down to earth?
If I would have told you after about 40 games, the Mariners are going to be in first place, George Kirby will have not pitched,
And the thing that's led them to this record would be the lineup, the offense, the run scoring. I think every single fan would have been like, hey, yeah, I'll take that.
Bump and Stacy, weekdays 10 to 2 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Washington is leading the way in car theft reduction. Car thefts dropped by 32% from 2023 to 2024 in our state, but there's still work to be done. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips are brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Hi, this is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. Spring has sprung. Need color to brighten up your yard or privacy trees to keep your neighbors guessing? Now is the time to buy. With hundreds of trees arriving in the nursery daily, Big Trees has the perfect tree for you. Check out our updated inventory list online at bigtreesupply.com or come visit the nursery today.
You have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
There's nothing better than having a big fish on your line. You'll hear that sound a lot at Queen Charlotte Lodge. Experience a luxury resort, breathtaking wildlife, spectacular wilderness, and amazing fishing at Queen Charlotte Lodge in British Columbia. Reserve now for peak king salmon runs and plentiful halibut this May and June. At Queen Charlotte Lodge, it's fishing first class. Go to fishqcl.com. That's fishqcl.com. And remember, our dollar is worth $1.40 north of the border.
Brock and Salk's Rewind is presented by Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, not the weekend anybody was hoping for at T-Mobile, that's for sure, as the Blue Jays came in and kind of did some damage here to this Mariner team. Aaron Goldsmith got to call all three of those games, and he joins us right now. Good morning, Aaron.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Doing pretty well. I think we've got you on video. Let's see if we can get... Oh, here we go. Yes, we're going to get Aaron on video here so we can see the beautiful quaff. Oh, no, it's covered, sadly.
7:30 in the morning.
I know. You've told us before that hat takes the early hours in order to make sure the hair really pops later.
I mean, the coconut oil and avocado mask doesn't go in until 11. Give me a break.
So let me ask we'll start with the big picture and then we'll start to dig into some of the more specifics. But what did we see this weekend? Was this the popping of a balloon, or was this just a little bump in the road?
Well, I guess we should start by saying they were going to lose the series at some point, right? Nobody wanted to see it come to the hands of a sweep, especially with kind of an ugly boat race of a game in the finale like it was yesterday. I mean, to me, it was pretty simple. Like, they just didn't score much, and they gave up a ton of runs. And if you do that to any team anywhere at any point in the season, it's not going to go well. So, I mean, the Mariners scored 3 and 1 run, right? And that's not normally enough, even for the Mariners. You know, that maybe in their heyday last year, that's a series win. But you roll the dice, and most times that's not going to yield great results. So the Mariners hit 2 home runs in that 3-game series? Is that right? And they were both solo home runs. So when I look at the offense, it's like when they were cooking, which was not that long ago, right? To be fair. They were getting men on base and they were hitting tanks. That's what they did really well, better than almost any team in baseball, and they did not do it in addition to not having great pitching, particularly starting pitching. So that was a problem.
I think after tonight, Aaron, will be just about at the quarter pole, right? 40 games after the Yankees game tonight. Just big picture, before, as Salk said, even the nitty-gritty with individuals, just big picture collectively as a team at the quarter pole. How would you characterize this start?
I think the Mariners have had great surprises in some areas that have covered up other great surprises in other areas, right? They have had surplus in areas that have covered up deficiencies in others. And I think we all know what that is, right? The starting pitching, for a variety of reasons, has not been there. And the offense has. Now, to be fair about it, the Mariners' offense was really great last year at the end of the season, right? But you weren't exactly sure how that would carry over to this year, and that was fair to question and wonder about. September offense doesn't always carry over into April offense, but it did for the Mariners, and then some even. And for the pitching, I think it's fair to say, well, listen, they've been down Kirby all year, and they've been down Gilbert for some time now. And when he was there, he wasn't the same guy, right? The swing and miss was through the roof, but it was quality and not quantity for Logan Gilbert, which led to a bigger issue for the Mariners rotation of just simply not going deep. If you look at the rotation last year for the Mariners, there was no team that pitched as many starts of 6 innings or more than the Mariners. It was the Mariners and then a huge gap, and then everybody else. Over 100 games last year for the Mariners of at least 6 innings. This year, The Mariners going into yesterday were like 19th or 20th in baseball in starts of 6 innings or more. I mean, you basically went from, call it 60% of your games having length from your rotation to like 30-some% of your games having length from your rotation. And again, there are reasons for that. You don't expect Hancock and Logan Evans to go 6 or 7 like you do Kirby and Gilbert, right? Just like when Kirby and Gilbert were rookies, you did not expect that from them either. So there are different points in their career with different skill sets, to be fair about it. But the offense has been so incredible and has mashed so many home runs, specifically so many multi-run home runs. I think that's important to kind of hang on to, that it has covered up a lot of this other stuff, which is fine. Teams change and evolve and ebb and flow over the course of the year. And who knows how much longer that can continue at that pace. Maybe it does. Maybe it dries up a little bit. That's just kind of the fun of this game, and you got to kind of wait and find out.
Well, and then, you talked about the guys that are out of the rotation right now. Of the guys that are still in the rotation, there's some question marks there as well. And Bryce Miller, obviously, an ERA over 5 is not very Bryce Miller-like. Certainly not what I think anybody would have expected this year. Kind of felt like he was going to be the next guy to kind of propel himself onto the next level of starting pitching, but it has not gone that way. And I think maybe more concerning, the velocity hasn't always been there. And after each start, he just sort of sounds uncomfortable. Here's what he said yesterday.
I don't know. It's been frustrating first 8 starts. I've had majority of the games where I haven't felt good, and I've had stuff, kind of nagging and lingering. And I think going into this week, it was more of a mentality change. Like, I felt decent, body-wise, but the mentality change was the main thing I was focusing on. And
I just, Aaron, I'm curious what you hear. I hear a guy that isn't right physically and is trying to solve or correct it mentally. I just don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's been happening enough now, and he's enough starts into the season that for me, it is concerning because there doesn't seem to be a clear path forward. Now, I agree. I thought Bryce yesterday did look better until that final inning for him kind of fell apart with the Springer home run. He was efficient. He was getting ahead with first pitch strikes like we know that he does so well when he is right. And he was getting back to the efficiency, 13, 15, 17 pitches an inning, and then he was getting off the field. Far better than his last start and some of his previous starts before that. But you're right. The Springer home run, I think, was like 92 point something miles an hour. Mm-hmm. I think for Bryce in particular, this is true for any pitcher, but I think for Bryce in particular, because his fastball is so unique and can be so special, even though he's got a wide bag of tricks that he can throw, I think when Bryce's fastball is 95 miles an hour as a floor, that's the separator for him. And they've done all the studies, right? It's not just a Bryce Miller thing. It's any pitcher thing. Like 95 miles an hour on the fastball is kind of the separator for, whoa, okay, there's something to that. Now, not every 95 is the same, let's remember. But for Bryce, when he's at 95, plus all the other clubs that he has in his bag, it's like, okay, this is going to be a long day for the other lineup. And we haven't seen that consistently. We haven't seen the mindset or the mentality. And we simply just haven't seen the command. Now, the command has been better the last 2 times. But he was a guy last year, as you guys know, who was pitching like a frontline starter who was your number 3? Your number 4, depending on how you want to pencil it out. And this year, he's not obviously pitched like that. To his great credit, he's been able to kind of smoke and mirror some things. And the baseline numbers, the back of the baseball card numbers, specifically the ERA, until just recently, has been very acceptable despite really struggling. And all that it's cost the Mariners generally has been another inning or 2 from the bullpen. But I don't know how much longer that can continue. And yesterday was a pretty good example of that.
The great Salk is a verbal processor, Aaron. We've learned that over 16 years here in this market. One thing that I have always appreciated about him, though, and it's been pretty consistent, especially over the last decade, is with teams, he holds them accountable to be who you say you want to be. If this is your mantra, if this is what you say you want to be, then go out there and draft and have transactions and acquisitions, to go play that kind of style. We know, Aaron, that this is an organization that says throw strike 1. Be who you say you want to be. Throw strike one. Throw strike one. It's been at the very foundation of controlling the zone and their pitching and their dominance. When you kind of look at your next level stats with both the rotation and the guys in the bullpen, are they getting that done enough? And if not, why do you think that is here in 2025?
Well, it certainly hasn't been to the level of the last year or possibly even two. I know it's been a little bit of a beat since I last looked at it from the bullpen, but the bullpen at one point was last in baseball in first pitch strike rate. Yeah. They very well could have improved since I last looked at it, and it wouldn't surprise me. The bullpen also has kind of changed from a standpoint of there's been a lot of ground ball pitchers in the bullpen this year as opposed to a ton of swing and miss guys. Mm-hmm. And that's been like, okay. I think any manager would love to have specifically your back three be more swing and miss guys than ground ball guys. And obviously Munoz kind of is the best of both worlds. It's impossible or nearly impossible to do anything other than a punch out or a ground ball the way he's been throwing it this year. He's been maybe the best reliever in baseball so far this season. But I do think that, like the offense, that can ebb and flow a little bit. It's probably... Not probably, I would imagine it is easier to have that as your kind of foundation or bedrock because, and we know this, the pitcher controls it, right? He's the one in charge. When you're the hitter, you're not. You're reacting. So I remember talking to Danny Farquhar about this kind of stuff last year, and he had a great line that I'll never forget, and it resonated with me. I don't know. I would imagine a lot of people would agree with it. He said, pitching is science and hitting is an art form, because we know this, when you pitch, if you release the ball at this angle with this spin, with this pronation or whatever you want to dive into, the ball will move like this. I mean, we have all the data on it. But for a hitter, if you get off your perfect A swing, like the best swing you've ever had, you might swing a miss. You might clip it and foul it back. Or you might hit a rocket right at the third baseman, right? Like the Mariners did Friday night. So pitching is a science and hitting is an art form. There's a little more space to color outside the lines maybe with hitting, because when you do it exactly right, that doesn't mean that the results will follow. And that's one of the beauties and one of the great frustrations of this game as well.
It's a great point. It's interesting. The best pitchers probably bring in a little bit of art to combine it, right, with all of that science. But I love the view on hitting, and I think it's a great look at how hitting is so much more reactive. You can't just go in with an approach and say, okay, this is what's going to work right now. It's got to adjust sometimes even over the course of the at-bat. And I wonder if that's where some of the success has come for the Mariners. I mean, it's funny, you bring up the walks and the home runs. Clearly the big things have been there for them so far this year. What kind of a role do you think the rest of it has been, the sort of two-strike battles and other things the Mariners have done besides the walks and the home runs?
I think it's definitely been a part of the formula for the Mariners this year, and you can point to or circle games on the calendar, even recently, like in Sacramento against the Athletics, where the Mariners have found a way to be pesky, and to get in good counts and string together hits and battle with two strikes and use the whole field and like all the things that you would champion if you are Kevin Seitzer and Edgar Martinez. And they have been much better at that. There's no question. That being said, like, they hit home runs. Like, I mean, like, there's always a reason. There's always more than one reason why a team is good, right? And just look at it from a lineup. Like, you want a lineup that does more than just one thing. If all you had were 9 Joey Gallos, you'd have a really bad lineup. And if you had 9 Leo Rivas's, that probably would not be an ideal lineup, right? But guess what? You want somebody like a Gallo with that kind of power, and you definitely want somebody like a Leo Rivas who's got a great strike zone, who gets on base, who can use the whole field, who can battle, who's just kind of annoying and will drive up a pitch count. Like, you want them both.
Oh, I thought you meant you wanted Rivas on the rotation after what you saw yesterday. I thought that was more of an arm that you were looking for.
Well, he does it all. See, and you want that for your whole team, right? And so the Mariners have, early on this year, they have found great success by getting on base and by hitting home runs. I was looking at it going into Game 2. Let's see if I can explain this well. This will be a good test for tonight. Going into Game 2 in Arlington. All right, so you're coming off of the, what was it, a 13 or 14-1 drubbing to begin the road trip against the Rangers. Remember, Cal hit the grand slam and the other home run as well. So going into game 2, the Mariners had the second most multi-run home runs in baseball. Okay, they were tied with the Dodgers. They had more than the Yankees. Since game 2 in Arlington, they have won. It was Rowdy Tellez's 3-run home run in Sacramento, which was a huge home run and helped spark a come-from-behind win and a series win against the Athletics. They have won in their last 8 games, and they are 3-5 in their last 8. Now, is that the only reason why they're 3-5? No. They've given up 8, 7, 6, 6, and 9 runs in their 5 losses. But the Mariners had the knockout blow a lot of nights. And you know what that did? It prevented them from facing the guys that they had to see in the first 2 games out of the Blue Jays bullpen more times than not. They didn't face the Jimmy Garcias. They didn't face the Hoffmans or the Littles, who made everybody swing and miss from the left side. Like, the Mariners never face Aroldis Chapman in Boston, right? Like, you go back, you look at these series, and you're like, man, you're facing the B side of a bullpen a lot. And what are you doing to that? You're beating them up even more, and you're extending leads. And when they haven't had that knockout punch at some point before the 7th inning, now you got to face those guys. And look at any team, and the Mariners are included. When the Mariners are rolling in their bullpen, what do the numbers say when you have to face Spire, a healthy Matt Brash, and Andres Munoz? Right. What do the numbers say?
Good luck.
The Mariners are 80-1 when those 3 guys pitch, right? Well, it's true for every other team. They all have their Spire, Brash, and Munoz. And the way you don't face them is you knock a 2 or a 3-run homer at some point before that 7th inning, and they don't see the field. That's what the Mariners did so incredibly well, and still have a chance to continue to do that. It has been a little bit of a blip of call it a week.
Who are you hanging out with tonight? It's your rotating cast of characters. So who's hanging out with you for the next 3 games?
You know, I'm going to go TBD because, poor nobody wants to work with me anymore. They've all like, I'm out. Poor Angie, man. She rolled in the other night and sounded like Ursula, and she tried to get on the air.
Okay, well, that's a non-starter.
So we had Hyphen come in the last couple of days, and so we'll see how everybody.
Okay, who's it supposed to be? Angie tonight?
I believe so.
Okay, I like that Aaron doesn't even know. He's just like, hey, whoever shows up to work with me is fine.
It's way more fun that way.
I totally
you would do the same way.
Absolutely.
You're stuck with Brock most days. That's your problem.
I know, it is very sad.
The better question is really, what are you going to do to Simsy tonight? Do we light his shoe on fire? Yeah. Do we rub some sardine oil on his mic? What are we doing to Simsy tonight?
Hey man, I just hope he walks into the right booth. I don't know, and the right clubhouse. You know, he might try to cozy up in my chair now.
I don't know. I think he seems pretty happy where he is. This is a kind of a dream come true for that guy. All right, Aaron, thank you. We got to run, but we appreciate it. Great to catch up with you this morning. Have fun with whoever shows up tonight and whatever Mariner team shows up tonight. We'll see. Thanks, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
And as it turns out, the Dave Sims story ends up with a couple of twists and turns. We'll dig into this later, like 9 o'clock. But Dave's taken some shrapnel from the New York media. Boomer Esiason going after him yesterday. So we'll play you the sound a little bit later. But I'm not surprised, and yet still somehow a little bit surprised at what I heard there. All right. Well, I said I would dig into this here for a few minutes, and I will. And Brock and I will probably turn this a little bigger picture at 7 o'clock as sort of a more general conversation about Dan Wilson and some of the pluses and minuses with this team, essentially a quarter way through this season. But what happened last night to me was egregious. Like, I've really tried to hold my tongue and not come in every day kind of complaining about the in-game decision-making, and I'm trying to recognize that it may not look the same as kind of what it has for the last 7 or 8, 10, 15 years here in Seattle. But I don't understand what happened last night. And I'm happy to give credit to the little things. I'm going to give some credit to the little things. They might not be as big as the big things, right? You got to walk, you got to hit home runs. That's what was really powering this Mariner offense. But I think some of the littler things they've done, the contact, cutting down the strikeouts, et cetera, they've made, let's call it a supplemental difference in some of the offensive success the Mariners have had through the first, 40 games of the season. But bunting in the second inning against the top scoring team in baseball with a guy that has been essentially a 4A pitcher on your mound, your 8th and 9th hitters coming up in a reverse platoon spot where they're both righty on righty, it's egregious. That's an egregious use of the bunt. It is completely and totally unnecessary and in every way, I believe, the wrong move yesterday. I don't understand it. I don't understand what possible logic would be behind it. If it's called from the dugout, it's just a flat-out mistake. And if it's called, if it's the player doing it on his own, then maybe there's just a little bit too much leeway because that's not the first. If we assume that Polanco was bunting on his own a couple of days ago, it's like a week or so ago, like this got to stop. The guy has just walked 2 batters. There's nobody out. You're in the 2nd inning. Do you think that game's going to end 2-1 with the Yankees? Like, your offense has been hot. Their offense has been even hotter. Unless you think that game's going to end 2-1 because you've got Randy Johnson going up against, David Cohn, and it's 1997. Like, why are you bunting? You have Emerson Hancock on the mound. Do you think that he's going to finish out a 1-run game? That seems unlikely. They have Clark Schmidt, who's just thrown a couple of walks. Don't you want to try to get after him? And instead, okay, you want to bunt, but you're going to set it up for your 8 and 9 hitter? I get it if it's Ben Williamson who's up there, and you're like, look, we just didn't trust him to get a hit, so we wanted to set things back up for JP and Polanco in the top of the order. Okay, I get that. I wouldn't have done it, but I'm not going to come in here and rant and rave about it because at least I see a compelling argument on the other side. I can't come up with a compelling argument for why you would possibly bunt Taveras there, knowing that Dylan Moore is up next, righty on righty, where he's just not a great hitter. And following that is going to be Williamson, your number 9 guy who's right now barely in the big leagues. I don't get it. I don't get it even a little bit. There's no part of it that I understand. Not one part. So I don't know whether that's why they lost the game. It's probably not. I mean, even if they had hit away there, I don't know whether you end up scoring, what did you need, 12 runs to win yesterday? I mean, like maybe the game goes differently and it's a sliding door situation and who knows what would have happened. So I'm not saying like definitively one way or another, but I cannot come up with an answer for why that would be an acceptable play there. Lyle, you and I don't necessarily, like, I don't feel quite as strongly as you do. I don't believe in never bunt. I think that's extreme. Never bunt to me is too much. I think there are times. I think there are defensible times in close games late, man on second, nobody out, where moving a runner to third and giving yourself an opportunity to score the tying or winning or maybe even extra run you need is worth it. It's worth giving up an out. But in very limited situations, you only get 27 outs. That's the one resource, the one precious resource you have is your number of outs. And you're going to trade one to what? Get 8 and 9 up in the 2nd inning? I just don't get it. Don't get it at all. Totally bizarre to me. If anyone's got an explanation, I'd love to hear it. And I know that I didn't hear any. I went through the Dan press conference afterwards to see. He wasn't asked about it, so I don't have any sound of him talking about it. But it was confounding to me. Did not understand that one at all. And, as I said, I try not to come in here and rant and rave. Like, hey, could you have lifted Hancock earlier? Sure, could have. Am I going to bash Dan for it? No. Like, I don't know what he knows. I don't know, who's, available, not available. He's in a stretch of games in a row against 2 pretty good offenses. You've just given up a whole bunch of runs against the Blue Jays. You're maybe trying to get through more. Like, I know that pitching bullpen, when to go to it decision is much more complicated than we generally know on the outside. There are times where I disagree. Yeah, I probably would have liked to have seen a different pitcher at some point there in the 5th inning. But, all right, like I'm not going to sit here and complain because I don't have all the information. I can't imagine what I'm missing on this one. And it leads to what I think is a bigger conversation. Dan Wilson is the most fascinating manager to watch because I think in one category, I'm giving them straight A's. And in the other category, it's like exactly the opposite. So let's discuss. We'll do it with Brock next on Brock and Salk.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
For some people that are just committed to being mad at the team or they stink, you just wait. You know, they're desperate to be right about them not being good. So this was their first chance to go, see? Yeah, there's the real team. I'm like, so the real team is the one we saw in these 3 games and not the previous 9 series.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
Discover one of the new inventions in home comfort with mini split systems from Home Comfort Alliance. Enjoy efficient heating and cooling, saving energy and reducing utility bills. Call now for a free consultation and get 18 months same as cash financing. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software, upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Mariners fans, it's time to bring the noise to T-Mobile Park. This lineup is loaded up and locked in. From every moonshot.
Now Raleigh obliterates this. How far? Way back there.
To every how in the world did he catch that moment?
Up play. Aaron Williamson reels it in.
Be here as the squad shuts the door and lights the W.
Munoz looking for the final out. Here's the stretch and that 2-2 on the way to Young. It is strike 3 called and the ball game is over.
This is our house.
They're going crazy here at T-Mobile Park.
Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
Be here for this week's Mariners marquee matchup. Cal Raleigh and the crew are squaring off against Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees tonight at 6:40 and tomorrow afternoon at 1:10. Don't miss the action. Go to mariners.com/tickets to lock in your seats for this AL East showdown at T-Mobile Park.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
This hour of the Brock and Salk Show is powered by Star Rentals, preferred supplier to the West's best contractors.
Get his freaking auto! From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
I don't read the internet, guys.
Take the bull by the hands.
And Brooke, you are. And Brooke, you are.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Eward and Mike Salk.
All right, we continue to roll through here. Brock and Salk Show, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com. Brock's going to be with us in just a moment. Some brief technical issues preventing us from chatting with Brock, but he'll be here in just a second, and we will talk to Jeff Passan a little bit later today at 8:30. We will also have Mariner first base coach and base running coach Eric Young Jr. with us at 9:30 this morning. So looking forward to that. So, yeah, I was starting to dig into some of the decision making last night, which I did not appreciate at all. And Andrew and Elma, I think understandably says, well, complaining about a bunt in a 12-run game is certainly a choice. It's like complaining about the paint color of a burning house. No, I understand. That's not why they lost. I said it. The starting pitching's the problem. You can't give up 8 runs a game and expect to win, which is what they've been doing here for the last 4 games that they've lost. You can't do that. 8 runs a game is not a sustainable model. I've said that a few times. And that's not on the manager or anything like it. What has been interesting to me, though, is what I'm going to start to term, Brock, you mentioned that you wanted to kind of take stock quarter way through the season of sort of the 2 Dans. There are sort of 2 Dans. And I know there was a show, The 2 Popes. I was thinking about that. There was an episode of The West Wing called The 2 Bartletts. Like, I found myself thinking about these 2 Dan Wilsons. And they seem to be almost very separate entities doing 2 completely different jobs. One is the tone setter, the leader, the manager of people, the guy who has set a culture and a philosophy for this team that has been pretty darn successful here in the first quarter of this season and even stretching back to last year. That seems to have freed up the team, freed up some of the personalities, created a loose enough environment to kind of help these guys realize a little bit more of their potential. He seems to have, a philosophical aggressiveness that the guys have bought into. And in terms of steering the ship, he seems to be tremendous at it. The other Dan is the one making in-game decisions that on an almost nightly basis, maybe that's an exaggeration, certainly a weekly basis, have been head-scratching at best and frankly wrong at worst. And I it's hard for me to like put those 2 Dans together into one person. I think just quickly, and I know you got the first Dan, the one that's leading and steering the ship, is the more important Dan. It's the more important job of the manager. I just hope that at some point it's not undone by the lesser of the 2 importance Dans, the one that is, unfortunately making in-game decisions that I don't get. I don't understand them.
So the first one, Captain Dan, that's Captain Dan.
Yeah.
That's probably confidence building Dan. I think that's the thought that comes to my mind the most when listening to these guys and being around them a bit in the spring for a month and listening to the people that are around them, just the empowering. He wants these guys to be empowered to play with confidence.
What was your word or his word? Grace that you picked up on him. And like those are unique, wonderful traits for a manager.
Yes, just kind of as a human being, as a leader, as somebody that, just kind of wants to empower as a shepherd with his sheep, Salky, that wants to, just kind of be the good shepherd.
Do you empower your sheep?
Well, sheep are dumb animals.
Right. I don't know that you want to empower your sheep.
Yeah, they're about the
That seems like a mistake.
Yeah, that's probably. Well, you can't really empower them. They don't have a lot going on there. There's not a lot of horsepower with them. So that's probably the bad analogy. So I'll just stick with the confidence building, Dan.
Yeah, let's stick with that.
And then the other one, I would just, obviously he's the manager and he's going to take those arrows. But I think we've learned through the years with every organization, and the Mariners are no different in today's baseball, those are kind of groupthink. That's not just Dan Wilson going rogue. That's Manny Acta. That's everybody before the game with kind of the decisions they want to make and the way the game is going to unfold and play out. I think we got to be a little careful both with credit and then on the other side with criticism of thinking it's just a one-man ship right there. The Dan's just pulling these levers and he's not taking in all the counsel from pregame meetings and as I said, the people around him on that bench that he's constantly communicating with.
There was a pregame meeting yesterday that said, hey, if we get our 5 and 6 hitters on via the walk in the second inning, we should bunt our number 7 hitter to set things up for our right-handed 8 and 9 hitters.
Right.
As if we're going to likely play a 2-1 game against the best offense in baseball with Emerson Hancock on the mound. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
That is not one I understand.
So if there
was
a pregame, was that Tavares laying down the bunt then?
If it was, and I was just addressing this a few minutes ago before you jumped on, if it was, I mean, obviously that's better, but that's now like 3 examples that we've sort of said that about.
Polanco twice, and now him.
Right. Like, okay, this has to stop then.
Yeah.
Then like there has to be some level of understanding that that's not, it just doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not, you're letting the guy, it doesn't make sense in like 5 different ways.
Yeah, that's just not sound baseball.
It is letting the guy who lost his command off the ropes. It is giving them an out in the early inning against a team that is likely to score a whole bunch of runs. It's making life harder on your pitcher. You're setting things up for Dylan Moore, who struggles against righties, to hit a righty, and then for Ben Williamson, who right now is batting 9th for a reason. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's not why they lost the game yesterday, and that's not the point of the conversation. It sure didn't help them win the game, but obviously you can't give up, 11 runs in a game and expect to win. It just, to me, is more about this dichotomy of like, this guy's just doing a phenomenal job on half of the job description. And maybe it's more than that. Because honestly, leading and managing the personalities and the vibe of a team is everything.
The injuries that this team has had to.
Absolutely. The
had to
resilience.
deal with, nobody blinking. Yep.
But like, what strategy, like if you knew that like your pitching was, right now problematic, wouldn't you want to do everything you can to give your team the opportunity to get more hits and have as many outs as possible and maybe put a crooked number on the board early in that game?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Was it Jason Churchill yesterday that was talking about Dan in this kind of manner?
Yeah, it's funny. I've got both sides of this. I've got the Churchill side.
My grade being a little lower than and not really reflective of where I might have them ranked in the league. A lot of that's how the team's being run, to be honest with you. It's really not about player performance and things of that nature. I mean, to think George Kirby hasn't thrown a pitch, Gilbert's been out, Matt Brash is just now starting to give them something, Troy Taylor hasn't really given them anything yet, Santos hasn't really given him anything yet, Robles is out, Raley is out. Considering all that, the fact that they are where they are now at the top of the division is pretty good work, mostly by the leaders of that baseball team.
Yeah, so Churchill's point was essentially, and he said a little bit before that, B- for the first quarter. Happy with a lot of the leadership and the way the guys are hitting, not impressed with the in-game decision-making. Eric Karros on Fox Sports, kind of the exact opposite.
Probably going to go to the American League, the Seattle Mariners. And that's a team that, we all talked about their pitching. It's going to be good. And
some of the guys have been hurt this year. The offense has been outstanding. And this is a team, they can hurt you up at the plate. They're going to hurt you on the base paths. I think you can go back to last year, the hiring of Wilson as manager. He changed the way that team was going to attack you. Former catcher, he realized it's tough to stop the running game, especially now with all the different rules that favor stealing bases. Edgar Martinez, the hitting coach, they have meshed, and they are much better than I thought.
And they've been injured with the pitching staff, too. So
right.
Getting some guys healthier, that's a really good sign for them.
Yeah, I think two different optics right there.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Karros, it's going to look at the entire league, that just is on a national level and doesn't watch these things pitch to pitch, decision to decision, inning to inning, as Jason Churchill and we do every single day, where, these decisions and some of the game management just gets magnified, right? Just gets magnified. And then we do, I think, as close as we are, just take things for granted. And we lose sight of, whoa, when you list out all of those guys that they have lost.
Unbelievable.
It really is kind of two different dance and two different, teams in that kind of manner. That, I'd be hard-pressed to say, man, this team is just not – it's just they've not blinked, Mike, even amidst all of this adversity. And now, by the way, here's their first in-season adversity. Here's their first four-game losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to happen. It was impossible for this crew with all of the limitations and injuries and inexperience to think that they were going to go through a season, especially against some pretty good opponents here. And the Yankees offensively are unbelievable. That you're going to just weather every storm and win every series. That was not going to happen.
No, and now and it doesn't get any easier. You're going to face a guy today who's been as good as any starting pitcher in the league, and then see what happens tomorrow, and all of a sudden, you got your backs against the wall a little bit. Must win? No, of course not. Still not ready for must win games. But you're
overcoming
right.
adversity in season, overcoming your first four-game losing streak.
And something they've been really incredible at so far. All of the resilience they've shown, getting down in games, getting down in series. Yeah, I think you start to test that even more tonight. We'll come right back here with everything you need to know. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Even the guys that if you look at their average and go, they're not off to a good start. Look at the on base. This team has been outstanding at working the pitcher, at taking walks. You look at Randy Arozarena, for instance. He's had huge hits. He's had some big moments that have been game-winning moments. But overall, he's not hitting that well. He's hitting 208, but he's got a 359 on base.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Mr. K's Construction reminds parents the fatal crash rate for teens peaks at age 19, and we lose nearly 8 kids every day. Please make a family agreement to never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs, text behind the wheel, or ride with anyone who is. Always designate a sober driver, call a parent or ride share, and let's bring our sons and daughters home safely. Best wishes to the class of 2025 from the entire team at Mr. K's Construction, committed to making your home and our community beautiful since 1977.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Are you still using allergy pills and sprays to treat your allergy attacks? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Nasal congestion, sneezing, runny nose, snoring, facial pain are just a few of the sinus symptoms we can help you out with. From allergy workups and treatments to modern nasal breathing procedures to advanced outpatient balloon sinuplasty, we can diagnose and treat your problems. Let us help you get relief easily, quickly, and permanently. Find us in Federal Way or Auburn or at sternsinus.com. That's sternsinus.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Well, not a lot of positive last night, unfortunately, Brock. The 3-game losing streak grew to 4 as the Mariners just are not having the homestand that they had hoped for. Once again, it was the starting pitching, the biggest problem. Emerson Hancock running into all kinds of issues in the 5th inning. Austin Wells kind of finished that off.
The 1-2 swung on. Cracked, center field. Julio back. He's at the track. He spins around at the wall, makes a leap. It's gone. Austin Wells, a 3-run home run. The Yankees have exploded here in the 5th.
Yeah, that was a 6-run inning. He gives up 7 overall. And give him credit. I mean, again, even last night, they continue to battle back, and Cal hits a 2-run shot in the bottom of the 8th to make it 8-5. And you're like, hey, it's not impossible. Yep. I'm going to keep watching. Anthony Volpe pretty much took care of that in the following inning with a 2-run shot to open the lead back up. But look, they've given up 32 runs during this 4-game losing skid, Brock. Were you going to ask your offense to score 9 a game?
Yeah, I kind of blame Passan, who will join us a little bit later today, because I think he put this kind of jinx on them, talking about them not giving up home runs. And then Goldie yesterday making the comment about, when the Mariners are winning and winning all of these series, how are they doing it? They were hitting the 3-run home run. They were getting some of those big crooked numbers that, allow you then to get to the less leveraged bullpen, and that's what the Yankees did, obviously, to the Mariners last night. I do wonder, was it sliding doors where like one little thing changes? And
I brought that up earlier today.
Did you really?
Yes.
I do wonder if Emerson gets that call, if they had the pitch challenge and he taps his head, or Cal does, on that two-strike beautiful off-speed pitch in the lower quadrant to strike out the leadoff hitter, Grissom. If that happens in that inning,
maybe.
Do we see the same kind of inning, or do we see him kind of get through it like he did the
totally
first 4?
Fair question. On the other hand, a lot of the contact that came afterwards was
99 miles an hour plus.
Real hard. I mean, things were starting to unravel a little bit. By the way, scary moment in the 9th inning. Oswaldo Cabrera needs an ambulance on the field. Awkward slide, scoring on a sac fly. His leg was immobilized in an air cast, taken off in a stretcher.
Dislocated ankle.
Man, it looked bad.
It was bad.
That was a no thank you.
Yeah, Titus was like his shoes facing the wrong way.
Yeah, it's not the way it's supposed to go. Should be a great pitching matchup tonight. Yankees will throw lefty Max Fried. He's had an unbelievable start. 6-0 with an ERA just over 1. And the Mariners will counter with Brian Wu.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
But with the pitching struggling the way it has been, Brock, you'd sure like to get some of your guys back. And looks like good news on all fronts. George Kirby, no problems after his 54-pitch outing this weekend. He's going to take his next rehab start Friday, not Thursday. So he's going to go Friday for Tacoma, I think in Albuquerque. And then assuming that goes well, he'd be on track to actually return the following week in Houston. So they don't go with the soft landing in Chicago. Instead, try to get him back for the Houston series. As for Logan Gilbert, plans to throw his first bullpen session today. Threw off a mound to a standing catcher yesterday, but no word on any possible rehab start yet.
Yep, all good news. And you know, most importantly, it's not even the day of. It is a reaction the day after, 2 days after.
Especially for Logan.
100% for Logan. Making sure that that forearm and that bundle does not tighten back up and does not feel anything and have no issues, so he can just keep that ball moving forward.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Good news for the Seahawks, Brock. They're making progress on all their signings for their huge draft class. 8 of the 11 now under contract, including Gray Zabel, the first rounder. He gets 4 years, almost $18.5 million. Look, these
fully
deals
guaranteed, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a little different in these deals with the new CBA for these first rounders. They're not the massive Sam Bradford contracts back in the day, but they're fully guaranteed. So 4 years, $18.7 million.
I also like that there's just no debate.
Yeah.
There's no holdouts. You just look, this is what you get. This is the scale for rookies. And so
well, it
they've
might be a little more challenging for Eman Worry because just a couple picks ahead of him, it was the Houston Texans with the receiver Higgins that decided to guarantee all of his money.
Oh, interesting. So now it's going to be a thing?
Second round.
Oh, interesting.
So,
all right.
yeah.
Well, that's not helpful.
No.
Even Worry, Arroyo, Milroe, the 3 left unsigned. Schedule's coming in full tomorrow night. No leaks yet of any Seahawk games, although we've seen some others. So the Vikings are going to have to play back-to-back in Europe?
I think they're going to stay over there
I would
as well.
assume, yeah. They're going to play London and Dublin.
I think so.
That's kind of cool.
Think they'll reach out to us, our Dublin experience?
I would think they should. Maybe Paisley will go over to help them out. Meanwhile, the NBA lottery sure seems rigged. How about that? That's absurd. How did the Mavericks win the lottery after all that? I mean, do they just not care? Does the NBA just not care about how it looks? They're just like, yeah, whatever, we don't care.
Yeah, Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. LeBron James to Cleveland.
Anthony Davis was maybe the worst one. Maybe not worse than Ewing.
Ewing is pretty bad.
Yeah. It's just that, again,
this one might be the worst of any of them. Coming on the heels of the trade they made, this has to be the most egregious.
I feel like they only should have been allowed to get this pick. They should have only been allowed to get this pick if they had let go of Nico Harrison. Like, should have been
talking. Here's the last thing.
On that.
Last thing you need to know. Sometimes things take a little while for me to gel and crystallize.
Yeah.
I realized one of my frustrations with Lyle.
Oh, what is it?
He's at an age where he can still burn.
Uh-huh.
You know, he can incinerate food.
Yep.
And the fact that he eats like with more discipline than you and I do at our age, where we cannot, it frustrates me.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, so
I think
like,
that's fair.
Lyle, you don't have to eat like a bird.
Right.
You don't have to eat just the lean turkey, ground turkey meat. You don't have to do that.
I think that's fair.
You actually are 26 and you work out 5 times a week, and your body can incinerate a lot of that stuff that ours can't anymore.
Yeah.
So go enjoy it. And he still won't do it.
No, I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I just wanted to voice that.
Well, I'm glad you did because
showing you up.
I'm glad you put words to what.
By the
what
way,
we're
it's
feeling.
some of it's very much jealousy. Let me just admit that, and envy that he's got that kind of discipline to do that.
Is that one of the deadly sins?
Envy?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where is it on your list of problematic
I don't know,
ones?
But that movie 7 still creeps me out.
That's everything you need to know. What's the worst deadly sin?
Ooh, that's a good question. 866-979-3776.
No, I want to know from you. I don't care what the people think. The people probably think it's like me talking about bunting.
Lust is pretty bad. Greed's pretty bad. I mean, they're all just nasty. It's why they're deadly, Salk.
Well,
you don't
I
want
know,
to.
but what's the most deadly?
You don't want to play and mess around with any of those suckers.
I think I do. I mess around with a bunch of them all the time. Like,
don't stop.
But in limited quantity.
It ain't good for you.
You got to have some. I mean, you just said yourself you have a little envy right now. It's not like destroying you.
By the way.
Yeah.
I had a little food and melatonin before bed, and I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life last night. It included you and Cecily.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Yeah, heading to a sporting event.
Yeah.
It was unbelievably realistic.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Was she taking penalties left and right? Was it all like realism, or was this... All right.
Mike Mayock, by the way, this time tomorrow.
Our whole day tomorrow is crazy. We got a lot of guests coming up on the show.
Good.
We got Passan today at 8:30. We got Eric Young Jr., first base coach at 9:30.
I'm about 50-50.
All right, shut up. Pete Carroll is going to join us tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and Mike Mayock at 7:30 tomorrow. So kind of a busy few days here on the Brock and Salk show. Coming up next, Sam Darnold speaks. Brock, you'll hear from him next on Brock and Salk.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What does the release of River Craycraft say about the wide receiver room?
It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing for Craycraft because he's a Coug, a solid player in this league, right? Just a consistent practice squad, special teams. But it also shows that they are interested in some young talent over there, 6'1", 185. So there's competition in that receiver room.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
All right, Mike Salk here, and I do want to let you know Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement. That's a great deal and a huge incentive for any homeowner to book their roof replacement right now. It's a good time to do it. The days are longer, post 8 o'clock sunsets. The crews can get your roof done real quick, right? So take advantage now before any demand spikes this summer, and then the repairs can start to cost more, or certainly would be more time consuming. So here's what you got to do to claim that $1,000 off from Riverside Roofing. Pretty easy. Book a free estimate. Go to their website, riversideroofingllc.com, and then you'll meet with Brandon. He'll come out to visit you and take a look and tell him you heard the message here on this station with me, and you'll have $1,000 back in your pocket and a brand new roof over your head. It's a great deal. Be sure to also ask Brandon about the 35 years of local experience being GAF Master Elite certified and the catch-all system to keep your yard and driveway free of debris like nails and shingles. It all starts by going to riversideroofingllc.com with the roofing company you can trust.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Hey folks, John Curley here. One of the best home comfort inventions of recent time, mini split systems. Now you can enjoy efficient heating and cooling while saving energy and reducing utility bills with personalized room comfort. Call my friends at Home Comfort Alliance for a free consultation, and for a limited time, get 18 months same as cash financing on all qualified systems. For all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory is a little different. We actually reach out to the small business world, to Joel Taylor and Sean O'Donnell from Sean O'Donnell's Restaurants. Sean, when Joel brought this to you, the idea of why don't we take this First Mark Challenge victory, what was your thought?
My goal was to save some money and to simplify our operations. We've got 6 locations now, and along with that comes complications. And when things get complicated, things that are important get forgotten. First Mark was able to simplify that and also save us money.
Not only have they saved us money, they helped us identify some blind spots in our policies. Their service team has been phenomenal, unparalleled in my experience, given us a lot more solutions with better coverage, and just made too much sense.
First Mark's just made it easy for us.
So if you're a business owner and your insurance is in need of simplifying and streamlining and eliminate the stress, do what Sean O'Donnell's Restaurants did. Reach out to First Mark Insurance. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. First Mark Insurance, your teammate in the business world too. Going to work for you.
Warmer weather, more sunlight, and your new car. That's right. At Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton, summer starts here. With their combined inventory of new, used, and certified pre-owned inventory, you're in for a summer to remember. Their fantastic teams will set you up with a test drive so you can ride off into that summer sun the same day. Summer starts here at Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton. Whether you're in the north or the south, they got you covered. Visit their incredible showrooms today or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and toyotaofrenton.com.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only, take up to $2,500 off an energy-efficient Bryant cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate. From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Baseball guests to come an hour from now, Jeff Passan. 2 hours from now at 9:30, we will speak with EY Jr., Eric Young Jr., Mariners first base coach. Would you stop? You know, my fault. Kevin Seitzer got sick last week, and the other guy had a phone issue.
Sure,
I mean, what do you want in my life?
It's fine.
All right. Well, hey, you know, don't be like that.
It's not Emerson Hancock's fault that it wasn't called a strike, and that, you know, poor Randy's got a hamstring that he can't go full speed out in left field. It's not his fault. It's not my dad's fault that he hit the Nancy Lopez 7-wood too good and carried the green and drew it into the water.
I mean, these things happen.
I hit it too good.
Yeah,
what do you want from me?
Sometimes you just hit it too good. In any event, those guys coming up later today. Tomorrow, a little bit more football talk. Mike Mayock at 7:30, and then Pete Carroll makes his triumphant return to the Brock and Salk show at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Both of those guys should be on video, which is cool. Yesterday, speaking of video, Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold did an extended sit-down with USA Today, and all of that was on video. The Soundhound, Maura, of course, stumbled across that yesterday. And because of it, we have some great sound of the Seahawks starting quarterback, who, as I said last week, Brock, kind of the forgotten story of the Seahawks offseason. How crazy is that?
Yep.
It's the most bizarre thing. The Seahawks have a new quarterback.
Yep.
And it might be the least not the least talked about part of the offseason, but the part we should have been talking about even more than we have. So getting to know Sam Darnold a little bit, here he is discussing one of the reasons he wanted to come here.
I think one of the things that excited me about coming here was Coach Macdonald and kind of the culture that he set for this team last year and kind of, rolling back into this year and kind of already the momentum that I feel like we've gained these last few weeks working together. And so it's been really good. And then obviously I know Coach Kubiak from my time in San Francisco in 2023. And, it was, so it's nice to be able to, have some verbiage and some of the things in the system sound really familiar to me. And so that was also a part that really excited me about it.
I think one of the things that also jumped out, to continue to go back to that Jordan Palmer interview from a couple weeks ago, was him not just talking about Sam being coached for the first time in San Francisco, but him talking about a winning culture, just playing for a winner. Not necessarily the case. He didn't go to Modern Day or St. John Bosco or any of the big winning prep schools down in Southern California, Salk. At USC, it was not a time of Pete Carroll, right? It was after that and some ups and some downs, and ultimately he played a huge role in getting them to the Rose Bowl and played out of his mind that year, including at Washington against Chris Peterson and Jake Browning in one of their only losses at home in their years and years together. But outside of that, Carolina was not a winning organization. The Jets were a complete and total dumpster fire and have ended many, many careers for coaches and players. And it really wasn't until San Francisco that he got to see, with Kyle Shanahan in that organization, a commitment to winning. And I'm sure that was very appealing. He's played against the Seahawks, right, a bunch of different times in that venue. He knows that Mike Macdonald comes from the Baltimore Ravens background of winning for a decade at Michigan and turning them and winning in Michigan. And even last year, amongst all the upheaval and new additions in his first year, he won 10 games. So I think that winning element was also a part of it.
Well,
as well.
yeah, and just sort of the overall organizational
character and quality.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds stupid, but the organization, like it's a well-organized system. They know what they're doing. They've got a plan and a purpose and all of that, and he spoke to that as well.
You hear about certain organizations, as you're with other teams and other guys come in from other teams, and everyone kind of talks, right, about organizations, good, bad, in between. And Seattle was always a place that had such good reviews from other players that I've played with. So to already have that preconceived notion and then step into the building, and it's really exceeded my expectations of kind of what this organization is about and how they do things on a day-to-day basis.
That doesn't surprise me.
No. If there's 32 organizations, what did Mike Mayock say to us? There's 25 that are aligned in that way. And there's 7 or 25 that are not aligned and just chaotic. And there are 7 that have that kind of culture and stability.
I would also say, I generally don't believe players when they say things like this, especially when nothing has happened yet, right? He's only been here for a couple of months. They haven't been through any training camp, any games, especially any losses. Like, he hasn't experienced any setbacks here yet. But because it fits with everything else we've heard over the years about this organization, I'm much more willing to believe it coming from him about them, because that's just sort of been their rep for almost as long as I've lived here.
Yeah, I mean, if you went, it wouldn't be that difficult if you went and kind of flew to 5 or 6 different places and you just saw the facility, right? I mean, it's the facility, and we have a huge advantage at Bonneville, Seattle. We have amazing leadership from the very, very top in Salt Lake City that gives us the resources to do our job. We have an amazing studio in video, and they invest in the personnel. I mean, honestly, I was chatting with a friend of mine yesterday that's in a different market at a different station, and you walk into a bunch of them, and it's just toki doki. Let's plug this thing in here. And, you don't have any of the commitment to winning, right? Any of those resources. And you know that when you walk into the Seahawks facility, likewise, like, wow. Holy smokes! How about the cafeteria on draft night? How's that? You kind of like that cafeteria?
The only thing I don't know, and I guess I only get it from the NFLPA survey, is a lot of those places have been redone since you were going through them and new people going through them. And it seems like there are now a lot more pretty nice facilities, nice kitchens, nice cafeterias. They may not all have the same view of Lake Washington.
I've been to Indy recently. I've been to Arizona recently.
Right,
I've been to Denver recently. I've been to a bunch of these.
Really?
Salk.
And Denver
Yes.
doesn't have, like, with all the Walton money and all that, Denver doesn't have that?
It's coming. They're having a tear down in Arizona. Supposedly is coming.
The Bidwells will screw that up.
Supposedly they're building something new. So
No, I'm not buying the Bidwells doing
no,
anything.
Minnesota's beautiful. Baltimore's beautiful. The Frisco Cowboys is beautiful. So
Right.
it's not like you're the
You
only
don't stand
one.
alone.
No, but you're again in that top 10, top third that really does invest in every single.
I hear the Bidwells are going to be bringing in an Applebee's to serve them every day in Arizona just to really get the vibe.
No, you got to pay for your own lunch in Cincinnati, which is great too.
Unbelievable. All right, more from
They
Sam.
showed a clip last year. Players have to cross the street
Yeah,
to
that's
get to
funny.
the practice
Oh, yeah.
facility in Cincinnati, like
Yeah,
cross
it's right
through
by their-
traffic.
It's by their stadium. Houston has a bubble in their parking lot at Reliance Stadium. Like,
I
it
do
just-
kind of like that.
No, you don't realize how, I have, Salk. And that year I did the NFL, I traveled around to a lot of those places. And that was just a couple years ago. And very, very few hold a candle to VMAC.
Darnold asked here about mentoring the young quarterback, Jalen Milroe. This is usually a good gotcha question. So let's see how he avoids stepping in it.
Yeah, it's great. It's funny. I don't even think about it like that. I'm just kind of doing my thing. He's doing his. And, if he picks up stuff from me, like, that's great. And, if he wants to ask me a million questions about playing quarterback in this league and kind of what I do on a daily basis to get to know the playbook and all those things, like, I'm all for, like, sharing so much information with him and sharing him all that I know. But I'm sure there's going to be things that he does really well that I'm going to want to get a little insight on and kind of, ask him questions. So it's really a back and forth relationship, really.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of, with the young athletes today, Salk, I don't think there's a lot of mentor role. I just don't think it's viewed in that capacity.
Well, and I don't know that he's in a position for it to be that way. I mean, like, he's not had enough success in this league to start saying, all right, I'm here to mentor.
Right.
And he's also not on the back nine of his career. He's in his 20s.
Yes.
So, I mean, in some ways, the question is sort of absurd to ask him. So that's why I was making the joke about it being kind of a gotcha question, because it feels like it does often lead to controversy or mild controversy.
Yeah, my experience.
I thought he answered it really well.
Yeah, in my experience, honestly, around this younger generation and this kind of young athlete, is the paradigm has shifted. Like, it's just no longer that way. It's no longer, you don't redshirt. Right? When I was in the 80s and the 90s, like, there was an understanding that, I mean, you're going to redshirt in college, and then you're going to spend some years, and you're going to grow, and you're going to develop, and you're going to play your last couple years of college. Like, that was the mindset. Pete kind of put that on its head at USC in the 2000s. Like, heck no, you're good enough. We'll take some lumps with a freshman, but we're going to play you, and we're going to try to get you to the league in 3 years. So everything is sped up. And we talk about this all the way down to U Sports, Salk.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is sped up. Everything is sped up. There's no patience. There's no development. There's no, oh, I'm the mentee and you're the mentor. It's like, no, I'm going to go get all mine, and I got to go get it now. And, that starts in junior high and high school with a very, very different mindset than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago.
What is it about Sam Darnold? I mean, we've talked about him, but am I crazy in thinking that we still haven't really talked about him enough?
Yeah, it's probably talked about Geno and DK and the guys leaving. How about Cooper Kupp? Have we talked about Cooper Kupp much?
Barely, and I'm going to get to him here in Blue 88 in just a moment. But I mean, like, yeah, it feels like with Darnold, like, maybe because Milroe came in not that far afterwards, and there's sort of the excitement level of the one true great skill, right? The ability to run, but Darnold is such a fascinating question mark because, there's discrepancy between the track record that goes throughout his whole career and the most recent view of what we saw. But then at the very end, the sort of reversion back to the track record when things sort of seem to matter the most. It's a fascinating, to try to predict who the heck he's going to be.
Well, it's just kind of like a movie character as well, or a sitcom character, Salk. Russell was a lot, right? This whole persona was sure a lot by the end.
Yeah.
And then actually Geno, was this whole like redemptive story this first year. And then, well, over the last couple years,
kind of a lot.
It turned into a lot too.
Yeah.
Like, golly, quite a bit of drama here. And then you kind of bring in this character that's like drama free.
No, the only real drama, I mean, he's not drama. You're right. He's not a drama filled character. The drama here comes from, who is he? Which player that he's been over the course of his career is he now, and will he be in the system? And then I think a little bit of drama from having a guy like Milroe drafted in the 3rd round. It's not a first-round pick, so there's not an immediate expectation that guy's going to take over or anything like that. But they did use a 3rd-round pick, and he does have, as we've said, that one great skill that no one else in this draft had. He had the only 80 grade for anything with his running ability. So, yeah, I do think that becomes a pretty interesting situation, and one I'm excited to kind of observe and talk about, obviously, over the course of this season.
Your single favorite sitcom individual. A character in any sitcom in your life that was your
Can I have some time to think about that?
You can absolutely have.
All right, let me
some
think
time to
about that while you're talking during Blue 88. Matt in Oregon, by the way, wants to know, have we settled on Soundhound? What about Clip Whip or Cut Mutt? I think Soundhound is pretty, because it's the sniffing out of the sound.
We kind of do need a bark, though. We do need a sound kind of clipped.
But it's really a sniffing thing.
You're not a good barker, are you?
I have different types of barks. Depends what kind of bark you want.
Give me your best bark.
Well, it depends what kind of dog you're talking about and what they're doing. Gertie's got this woo-woo-woo thing that I'm not really a fan of.
Woo-woo-woos?
Yeah, like somebody will come to the door and go, woo-woo-woo-woo-woo-woo. It's very embarrassing.
Like that?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I really like her as a dog, but I really would like to work on her.
Whoa.
What's that?
What was that? Was that the Soundhound?
It might have been.
Is that the
I had a
drop we're gonna
dog
use?
barking clip, and apparently that's not.
She's deep. Well, that's a whole pack of Soundhounds.
Yeah.
With a
That's
dog
like when
barking
Maura gets
man?
together
No,
with her producer
they're-
buddies.
That's the greatest dog barker
That's
in the history
too
of
much.
mankind in Australia.
That's too much. Let's do some Blue 88.
This is Brock and Salk's Blue 88.
Blue 88! Blue 88!
We take you to the field as Brock Ewart breaks down 3 football questions as only he can.
Now here's your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
All right, question number 1 for you, Brock, and we'll start with the guy you just mentioned, Cooper Kupp, because he and Sam Darnold have been kind of working on getting to know each other. How important is it for these two guys to be on the same page?
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's going to be vital. I think, many of these younger players, Salk, are going to look to them. They have a wealth of experience in this system, time on task in this system. So, and obviously in Cooper's case, maybe unlike Sam's even, Cooper's been a MVP candidate. I mean, he's played it at that level, and it wasn't 5 or 10 years ago. So they are absolutely the pace car, right? They're going to be the one that everybody is going to look to. And the fact that they're pretty normal dudes, the fact that they're going to be a couple of your hardest working guys is just I think a huge attribute to the system and to the whole program, and why I think ultimately they were very attractive, and the Seahawks went after them in the way they did to replace a Geno and a DK.
Yeah, here is Sam Darnold talking about that relationship.
It's huge. Anytime you can connect and make a good relationship with any of your teammates, but obviously your receivers, you want to have a great relationship with your receiver off the field, because that'll only help your connection on the field. And so that's been great, just getting to know these guys off the field a little bit, and especially Cooper, like he is, he's diving deep every single day on concepts and what we want to run. And, he's almost another, quarterback out there with kind of the things that he thinks about and how he talks about football. So it's great to have Cooper around, and just super excited to continue to get to know him and, the way that he runs routes and thinks about football.
All right.
I think this is the 5th time, by the way, I've shared this story, but it does resonate about my little brother, Uncle Luke, down at USC just last offseason, watching Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp work at their facility right there in L.A., and just Luke was mesmerized. I mean, he just could not believe that a QB and a receiver, the level of details that they were going to in that situation of routes on air. How many times you think of routes on air, and that's the phase of the offseason they're in right now. They're not to phase 3 in OTAs yet. It's coming right around the corner. But this phase is just like, you're throwing routes, and you go out there and throw routes. Hey, man, run this slant, run this post. But the level of detail that Cooper goes to, because he knows this game inside and out and sees it as a quarterback, yeah, it just creates a whole different level of relationship.
All right, question number 2. So you had your first staff meeting last night, coaches meeting with all of the ex-NFL guys that have gathered together in the super team here. What'd you get out of it?
Oh, man. So it's really neat. First, hour and a half was the staff and everybody introducing themselves and where they're from and why we love to coach and why you're serving to do this and volunteering and yada, yada, yada. And that was all terrific and some really neat life stories. And then, Salky, we had the first offensive install.
Okay.
And I was reminded about that cut Daniel Jeremiah used and talking about, no, Salk. Actually, for Jalen Milroe, doing the little things well is the biggest issue and is the whole game. And as we start going through just the base install and all of the packages and the different tempos and the check with me and the cadence changes, I was reminded oh, there is a lot. Yeah, it was kind of that foray back into, this side of it. And for me to learn a whole new language. Right? These are concepts that Mike is bringing from the University of Minnesota, from his time at Boise State. It's a bunch of cool different backgrounds. But honestly, if you would have sat in there a half hour in, you would have looked at me like, what are we speaking here? What is this? And I'm like, yeah, it's a lot. And those little things, we get so enamored with how they throw a football and can I throw tight spirals and am I accurate and all of these things. But the little details of all of the protections and the run games and the tempos and all the things that a quarterback commands, I was reminded last night of just how voluminous that can be.
All right, question number 3. I love when you write questions like this.
My brain was tired by the end of the night. I slept really good.
Are we revisiting where the Huskies sit amongst the Blue Bloods, bro?
Yeah, are we?
Probably not, but if you would like to.
Did you look at the picture I sent you guys?
I did.
Did any of that surprise you?
No.
Go ahead and read it out, since you're going to be a little smart
I'm
aleck.
not going to be. I'm letting you talk.
No. You're being a smart aleck. And if you got it pulled up, because I don't have it pulled up.
Oh, you don't have it pulled up?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize.
I'm definitely not going to help you with this.
You're not?
No.
No, I think you look at what they've accomplished, and there was a tweet, I think it was last week or after the draft, talking about Salk, honestly, west of the Mississippi. Who's the Blue Blood program west of the Mississippi right now? On the West Coast, Oregon.
What does that mean? West? What do you mean the Blue Blood west of the Mississippi?
I'm talking about outside of the SEC, and obviously the power brokers in the SEC. Outside of Ohio State and Michigan.
But those are the Blue Bloods.
Okay, then where does Washington rank with what they have done over the last decade?
After that.
This is okay, that's fine. But you're right there.
Right.
This is not when you moved here in 08, 09, I get it. That decade of the aughts was really, really bad. Right? It wasn't the 90s. It wasn't the 80s. If it was the 80s and the 90s, you would be talking about Washington with Michigan, with Ohio State, Rose Bowl after Rose Bowl after Rose Bowl, national championship, and then you just happened to move here in the aughts when it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But now look back over the last 10 years in the level of accomplishment.
It's been good.
And a national semifinal and playing in a national championship, and the number of draft picks and the number of conference championships, the number of 10-win seasons. And why are you laughing? You're really going to make me mad. You're going to make this vein.
I'm sorry.
Either pop out of my neck or on my forehead.
I'm sorry, Brock. I'll stop laughing.
Thank you.
Sorry.
There's no way you could look at that list. And I'm sorry, Lyle. ASU was a nice one-hit wonder last year, and they should be pretty good this year. And we'll see if Mr. Dillingham can kind of keep some of that momentum going. When you look at what Washington has done over the last 10 years, it's Washington and Oregon west of the Mississippi. USC's fighting to claw back into, I think, some of that relevance and exposure. But the track record over the last 10 years has been pretty darn impressive.
All right, there you go. That is today's Blue 88. All right, favorite sitcom character of all time? It's a good question. I thought about it that whole time you were talking. And
so you were distracted and
I
you
was.
just started to needle me?
I was. I'm sorry about that. I really am. I didn't mean to needle you so much.
Yeah.
There's some obvious contenders for this. I personally, if you're looking at the 4 unbelievable characters on Seinfeld, I actually think Jerry is the thing that holds that whole show together. So I'm a big Jerry fan on Seinfeld. Okay. But I mean, Kramer's the funniest. Costanza moves the plot along. Elaine's brilliant. Yep. I think that there's a strong argument to be made for any number of characters on Arrested Development. Probably starting with Michael Bluth, but I got to tell you, I love his mom. I think that she's hysterical.
Wow.
But if I have to give an answer, And maybe this is, as usual, Brock, maybe not the most popular answer. The funniest and my favorite sitcom character of all time. And I don't know that it's that close. Is Bill McNeil, Phil Hartman on News Radio. It is such brilliance. It is so freaking funny. He is so unbelievably great as Bill McNeil.
You're like one of those trained police attack dogs they set loose in the wild and it goes all soft and gets eaten by a deer or something. What? Have you ever heard the expression, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade and then toss it in the face of the person who gave you the lemons until they give you the oranges you asked for in the first place?
Dude, Phil Hartman in that role is unfreaking believable. So that's my answer. How about you? Do you have one?
No, I don't have one.
Oh, great.
And I certainly can't go to the depths of those shows and those characters. So that's why I asked you.
Two of those shows are pretty, big time famous sitcoms.
Sure.
Obviously, News Radio didn't quite make it. But if you go back and watch, Phil Hartman in that show is just unbelievable. All right. Let's see. We're going to talk to Passan in a half hour. We've got Eric Young Jr. a little bit later in the show. Tomorrow, both Mike Mayock and Pete Carroll at 9 o'clock. We'll be right back on Brock and Salk.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Even the guys that if you look at their average and go, ugh, not off to a good start, look at the on base. This team has been outstanding at working the pitcher, at taking walks. You look at Randy Arozarena, for instance. He's had huge hits. He's had some big moments that have been game-winning moments. But overall, he's not hitting that well. He's hitting 208, but he's got a 359 on base.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Weather, more sunlight, and your new car. That's right. At Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton, summer starts here. With their combined inventory of new, used, and certified pre-owned inventory, you're in for a summer to remember. Their fantastic teams will set you up with a test drive so you can ride off into that summer sun the same day. Summer starts here at Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton. Whether you're in the north or the south, they got you covered. Visit their incredible showrooms today or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and toyotaofrenton.com.
O'Brien. For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Jaden Schwartz for Techline Roofing. The ice may have melted, but spring is the perfect time for a new roof. Call Techline Roofing. Take advantage of our easy financing and our spring special. That's TEKLINE roofing.com.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile, well, they have Wi-Fi power boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and out on the go. So get the same reliable network in the places you need it the most. Maybe the coffee shop, the grocery store, or at the game. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity, internet, and mobile. And now through April 21st, 31st. Get 300 megabit Xfinity internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for a year with no contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T Plus. Ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet Plus One Unlimited Welcome Line, and AT&T Internet 300 Plus One Unlimited Starter SL Line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Heading to the ball game? Don't mess with traffic and pricey parking fees. Make it easy and ride the bus. It's affordable and convenient. No stress, no hassle. And plenty of time to grab a hot dog before first pitch. Community Transit makes riding the bus fun, easy, and affordable. You save money on parking, and kids under 18 ride for free. See where they can take you and plan your trip today. Go to Community Transit at ctgo.org/home run.
LeeJohnson.com is a dynamic research tool.
We want to give the customer enough information to where they don't have to go anywhere else to research any of the questions they have. And if they want more information, we'd love to be there to help. We don't want them to feel like they're dependent on emailing us or texting us or calling us just to get the information they need. So we put it all out there. We call them digital retailing tools, big fancy calculators where you can get in there and change the terms and change the payments and change the cash down. And it'll give you a disclosure of, hey, when you do this, this means here. And a consumer can get on there and do a lot of this themselves. And then if they choose to get us involved, we can actually get involved on the backside of it and help them along the way. We want to give the consumer the same tools that we have and let them understand what we understand.
Yup, that's pretty much what you'd expect. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Upgrade to an efficient heat pump AC now before the summer heat. And Home Comfort Alliance will save you up to $6,000 limited time savings. And you can take 18 months to pay with zero interest. Call for a free quote. HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Get in the freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Heward and Matt Marcus. Sorry about just Mike.
Heward, not exactly Joe Cap there in the pocket.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
There are a lot of answers to that best sitcom character. A lot of text messages. A lot of them.
Locker rooms become like sitcoms, man. They really do.
I'm sure.
Thinking back to it, I'm sure clubhouses, maybe even more so because of just time on task together, 180 days at home, on the road, all the travel that they do. And yeah, you could kind of develop, if you're wondering, just jumping in and listening, how in the world are you getting to sitcom characters? Because Russell was a significant character, especially at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And Gino kind of became one, and Sam. Well, Sam is a little like Sam Malone right now, isn't he? Isn't he like the Cheers?
Just kind of the bartender serving it up for everybody else to make their jokes.
Kind of a very normal dude.
I mean, there is that element of like, that the one straight man in a office or environment full of crazies. I think it's why I love News Radio and Arrested Development. They both sort of and Seinfeld to an extent too has that element of like there's one sane person in a world of completely insane people.
Which is how you kind of view yourself in this sitcom of the show, isn't it?
No, I don't know. I don't know whether I necessarily view myself as the straight man here. I think that that's probably not really my role. I think I probably play more of a Costanza-like role in this show. But I do appreciate the straight man in other parts
that would
of
be
life.
kind of next level text toy. You think the text toy is capable, or maybe
It's already been all over that.
Maybe Here's the Thing is capable. Who would Salk be?
Why
Who
just
would I
me?
be?
Why just me?
Who would Lyle be? And who would Maura be? Is sitcom characters.
Lyle's like one of those, like, every like 90s sitcom had the older brother who could like barely function in society, right? Like Eric in Boy Meets World, or Joey Lawrence in Blossom, like any of those, is just like, like poor
Is he
Lyle.
kind of like Bull in Night Court?
Oh, that's an interesting one.
I've totally seen all these things, so sure.
You're like Bull in Night Court. Let's just go with that.
Can I be somebody from Drake and Josh? I don't know.
What is Drake and Josh?
All right, never mind.
Hold on, what is that? I want to know.
That's probably my favorite sitcom.
That's your favorite sitcom?
Oh, yeah.
Your favorite sitcom is called Drake and Josh.
Yes.
What is it?
Oh, it was a show on Nickelodeon.
Should this be your first homework assignment for
Is
them?
that like the Sweet Life with Zach and Cody?
I mean, no, it's totally different than that, but
hold on, your favorite sitcom. Hold
It was
on.
a Nickelodeon show that tracks. Like,
yeah, people love that
You're
show.
not
That was my age.
7. Like you're still your favorite sitcom of all time is a Nickelodeon
it's got
show.
nostalgia, yeah.
That would be like me saying like my favorite half-hour show of all time is Sesame Street or something. Like Nickelodeon.
No, I mean, there's people that still love Full House. They just did a revival. You can love
That was on
sitcom
network
from when you were a
television.
kid.
Full House was on ABC.
Drake
Not
and Josh-
Nickelodeon.
Drake and Josh was a classic show.
I'm
People
not
my
saying
age.
it wasn't. I'm just surprised that your favorite show of all time was for children. It was on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I loved it.
And you haven't found anything since then that you've liked better?
There's really not great new sitcoms out there. You have to give them that. They
Well,
were
that's
better
why he
when
needs to go back and watch the old ones.
I mean, I really like that 70s show, if you count that.
I do, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
All
a real show on network television.
All right.
Yes.
That's a good
Designed for a mass audience, not for, prepubescent kids.
Oh my God.
Look, what? Remarkable. That is all right. So I will ask about Drake and Josh. I will see if I can find out about that. See if Avery knows it, what she
Salk,
knows.
you can't bring the hammer that hard.
What are you talking about?
Or he's not going to share.
I like when he shares. And by the way, I'm not hating on Nickelodeon. That's fine. I just am surprised that would be your favorite now. Like, you still watch episodes now?
Not all the time. Maybe every now and then.
That's good. All right. I was hoping it was going to be some sort of a YouTube thing where it's like, well, yeah, each episode is 12 seconds long, and I really like it. It fits my attention span. It's just perfect. All right. Jeff Passan's going to join us, as I said, at 8:30.
What's your fear meter right now with your Seattle Mariners? What's your worry? What's your speaking of George
I did mention it at 8, Brock.
And one of our
Or
great
6, rather.
bits.
I did mention at 6. There is a little element of like, you start off your golf round super hot. You end up ball striking better than normal. You start looking at the score, and you're like, oh, I'm way ahead of where I normally am. I got an opportunity. Oh, my God. And then the next thing you know, you start to feel the pressure, and then a few minutes later, you double bogey, and then, it all kind of comes creeping back in. I think there's got to be a little fear factor right now, yes.
I'm kind of excited, honestly, to watch a little bit of this. Right, to one of the points that the new head coach made last night is all these games, all these scrimmages, all the competitions, the purity of football. And the neat thing about it is you get data. Here's the data, and then you got to adjust. Right, you got to take what you're seeing, and here's the data points. And now, what are you going to do about it? And I'm kind of honestly a little excited that this is the first real data point. Dan didn't go through this the final month of last season. Right, the final month and a half of last season when they took over, they went 7 of 11 series and, well over 500 and everything else. And, this year, amidst all the adversity and all the injuries, that was a good data point, and you've kind of overcome it. Not kind of, you really did. Put yourself in a great spot. 8 games above 500, winners of 9 series in a row, something that hadn't been done in 25 years. But now here you go. Here's your first data point. Here's your first serving of a real losing streak.
Yeah.
Of not just losing a series, but now losing 4 in a row,
it's funny.
staring down
That's
5
not
in
the
a row.
part that I found myself thinking about. I don't know. That part doesn't concern me as much. I think Dan has been so good at kind of building a resilience and a confidence into this team that I'm actually not that worried from their perspective that, this gets into their head and they struggle to maintain their composure or anything like that. To me, this is more an element of, just looking at the players that were just well over their skis.
Yeah, just coming back.
Just knowing that there's going to, and we've always known this. We've talked about it. I mean, as much as you want to get excited while guys are destroying the baseball, that Jorge Polanco's not going to have a 250 OPS plus all year.
Yep.
That's just not a sustainable thing. That's not real life. So you knew that a correction was going to be coming in some way on the offense. And by the way, even yesterday, they continue to put the pressure on. They continue even down, 8-2 at that point. They continue to try to bounce back and make it 8-5 and put pressure on the Yankees. And I give them credit for that. I don't think that resilient streak is going anywhere. But I think that there is a legitimate concern that the offense will revert back to kind of not where it was, but something less than what it was the first 5 weeks of the season.
And then on the flip side of that, if and when that happens, and maybe we're in the midst of watching that happen, then can the other side do their part?
Well,
can this
needs
pitching
to, but
actually rise to what they have always been in the past?
The fear, though, is that the pitching problem is not quite as solvable. That in 2 or 3 cases, there's physical limitation that's the concern, right? In Logan and George, we don't know what they're going to look like when they come back. And with Bryce, there seems to be some sort of a physical ailment.
And with Luis aging a little
That's
bit.
right.
And, yeah.
So now all of a sudden you're really kind of looking at like Brian Wu and the gang and like, look, that's obviously the extreme negative version of it. It's also entirely possible that Bryce gets it figured out, that Logan comes back and is vintage Logan, and that George Kirby is going to be as good as he's ever been. So they really need that. I mean, we can talk all you want about offense, but the name of the game, according to anyone I've ever talked to who's been in this sport, is starting pitching.
Pitching, and that is what this is built on, and that is what you did not trade away. And a great Mike Salkism from his sitcom is be who you say you want to be. In this thing, you did not trade your pitching. You did not move from any of those guys. You wanted to keep them all, and thank goodness you did, because you need the depth and even the Logan Evans and Emerson Hancocks, who are thrust into prominent leading roles right now. Pitching. And that is what this organization's been built on, and that's what they're going to need, I think, to weather this storm they find themselves in right now.
Yeah, I think all of that sounds pretty accurate. But look, they can do all that. I mean, we've seen them do it over the course of this year. So I have no idea what's going to happen next. That's sort of been my...
2 guys tonight, by the way, with sub-1 whips.
Yeah.
Both Ryan Wu, even after the little rough start down in Sacramento.
The other guy's got like
runs.
a 1.05 ERA.
Yeah,
he almost has a sub-1 ERA. He's been unbelievable.
Good against us last year.
Freed?
Braves, too. Right?
I mean, he's pretty good in general, I would say.
Lefty, too, right?
We will, he is. We will chat with Jeff Passan about that coming up in 20 after everything you need to know next.
Bump and Stacy.
Jason Churchill joining us now. Might we be staring at a potential gap where you're still waiting on production from your pitchers and the offense has come back down to earth?
If I would have told you after about 40 games that the Mariners are going to be in first place, George Kirby will have not pitched, and the thing that's led them to this record would be the lineup, the offense, the run scoring, I think every single fan would have been like, hey, yeah, I'll take that.
Bump and Stacy. Weekdays 10 to 2 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Hey, Brock Ewart here, and have you been with the same insurance agent and carrier for so long you just assume? That was Molly and I for a lot of years. And then a move happened, and then we lost a carrier. And then it was like, oh, goodness, what now? Do I get on this internet? Do I start punching away? Do I try to figure these things out? And all it did was make us more stressed and more confused. Well, that is where First Mark Insurance comes to play. Taking the First Mark Challenge like Molly and I did years ago, and boy, am I glad we did. Here's how First Mark goes to work for you, like they did for us, many of my family members, many of my friends. They go to work. They fully analyze your coverage, making sure you're not overpaying for the wrong coverage. And then, unlike you and me, well, they go to the market. Dozens of major carriers they have worked with for decades to find you the best fit. That's it. There's no stress. There's no confusion on your side. They're your teammate. And they spent the last 30 years helping thousands of families manage this complicated world of insurance. So please don't wait a morning longer. Take the First Mark Challenge. It's totally free, and you might be the next First Mark Challenge victory. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. It's all right there. firstmarkinsurance.com, your teammate that goes to work for you.
Rick Riz here for the Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington's Improve Your Play program. Many of our local youth sports teams need help with field enhancements, training, and equipment. Local Pella owners Keith Dashafy and Luke Wilson are stepping up to donate $5,000 to 2 deserving teams. We need your help finding them. Head to seattlesports.com/play to nominate a deserving team in need. Let's help our local youth improve their play this year with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Contest and rules at seattlesports.com/play.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from.
Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Something amazing is happening in business. More companies are turning to Mac. From finance to fulfillment, CDW will seamlessly support Mac integration into your organization. With the power of Apple Silicon, best-in-class security, and compatibility across your favorite apps, your team will have the performance they need and the tools they love. Make amazing happen. Mac and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/Apple.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN. Are you ready for the NFL season? The schedule release is coming, and we know the best place to get your tickets this year. My friends at Vivid Seats. They're seriously legit, and you earn rewards on every purchase. That's basically free football games. When that schedule hits, don't wait around. For the best selection and all the great deals, head to vividseats.com or download the app and lock in your game days now.
Get rid of stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin with ProSculpt, the simple one-day permanent fat reduction and skin tightening treatment. Book your free consultation at prosculpt.com.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims like Sean, who was rear-ended in a car accident.
They're just easy to work with. They're fast. I like the fact that he had military service. I can see a lot of Marine in Rob. He's very in charge, really gets things done. But I didn't have to do anything. He offered me a settlement, had a number in my head, was nearly double that. I would refer absolutely anybody to Rob.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
Eddie's! G. Scott here with former Seahawk Doug Baldwin. Tell us about Nourishing Champions.
We know the benefits for young people in sports, but we often don't think about the barriers, and one of those barriers is having proper nutrition. So Nourishing Champions, in partnership with Champions of Change and Safeway, is an effort to address those barriers so that our student athletes have what they need to excel both on the field and in the classroom.
High schools can apply for grants up to $25,000 from Nourishing Champions. Learn more at championsofchangefoundation.org/Nourishing Champions.
My teacher is the best because she gives us pajama day.
No matter how old you get, you always remember that one great teacher. Hi, this is Rick Riz, inviting you to join WSECU in celebrating Teacher of the Week. This year, we're going to honor 24 great teachers with grants of $500, sponsored by WSECU, the credit union for Washington. Nominate an exceptional teacher now at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Yeah, unfortunately, this little losing streak continued last night, Brock. It went from 3 to 4 as the Mariners continue to struggle in giving up runs. 32 runs they've given up during this 4-game losing streak. That, for those of you who are not mathematically inclined, is 8 per game, which means you got to score 9 in order to win. That's probably not going to get it done. And last night, they give up 11 runs, 7 of them by the starting pitcher, Emerson Hancock, the big blow from Austin Wells.
The 1-2. Swung on. Cracked. Center field. Julio back. He's at the track. He spins around at the wall, makes a leap. It's gone.
Yeah, everybody was going to center field, it seemed, last night, right? Just lots of home runs.
Where was the Marine layer?
It was.
Where was the Marine layer?
It was out of commission last night, I guess.
Goodness gracious.
Cal managed to hit his, 13th?
How about the gravity? How about gravity? Where was
was
gravity?
It's on vacation.
2-2. Swinging a fly ball deep in the straightaway center field. Grisham going back, looking up. Goodbye, baseball. Cal Raleigh with his 13th home run of the year.
How about that? Julio had a home run. Polanco had a home run, right? I mean, like...
Yeah. A lot of home runs.
A lot of home runs. Unfortunately, the Mariners were mostly solo home runs, and the Yankees had a couple of really big blasts and everything else to go with it as well. Emerson Hancock trying to get through that lineup.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of respect for them and their lineup. You know, that's a very deep lineup, and they kind of just got some momentum going, and it just kind of kept going. And, you know, for me, you got to keep attacking the strike zone. Sometimes, you know, they're ready for that first pitch, and they made some good swings. You know, I made a couple mistakes, and they made me pay for it. But at the end of the day, like, you got to keep going after them. And, you know, I'll wear this one, and you didn't really give us a chance to win. But, you know, baseball is what it is. And you move on, you keep working, and show up tomorrow and see what happens.
Playing football at West Canaan may be the highlight of your life. But I don't want your life.
There is a lot of that. You know what's amazing, Salk, is about all these pitches. The beauty of sport is many of these things are so cyclical. Right? We can talk about the kick changeup, the split finger, the cutter, the sinker, and all. Like, if you don't have that good old-fashioned fastball, and you're going to see it for Max Fried tonight and Brian Wu tonight, part of the reason they both have sub-1 whips is because they command that fastball up, down, in, out, can throw it with just such conviction. And when I look at the Mariners' entirety of their pitching through the bullpen and through some of the starters and now thrust into roles and the struggles of Bryce, when you don't have that first card, it doesn't really matter what else you have in the deck.
Yeah, I mean, he's throwing primarily a two-seam fastball and trying to get run on that. And, you know, a lot of people have been successful with that as a primary pitch over the years, but he obviously got himself into some trouble there in the fifth inning, couldn't get out of it. And, yeah. Scary moment in the ninth, Oswaldo Cabrera needing an ambulance on the field, awkward slide while scoring on a sac fly, leg immobilized in an air cast, was eventually taken off in a stretcher. Were you watching that live?
I was watching it live. They never showed the replay, so I had to rewind it back to see in real time. And it was after he went by home base. Yeah, his foot just got stuck, and ankle certainly looked like it dislocated.
Yeah, I had flipped over.
Between that and Jason Tatum, who tore his Achilles.
He did?
Oh yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Awful.
That sounds bad.
Between those two, like late in the game, late injuries, it was a pretty catastrophic
Yeah, I had
night.
flipped over to the hockey game and was watching the end, flipped back, and he was lying on the ground. I thought he'd been hit by a pitch.
Oh.
I assumed he'd been hit in the face, and that's why they were calling everybody out. And yeah, just a crazy moment. Should be a good pitching matchup tonight. Yankees lefty Max Fried, who you just mentioned. Brian Wu will go for the Mariners.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
And now, I mean, you really start missing some of those starting pitchers, Brock, that have been out. So mostly good news regarding their returns. George Kirby, no physical issues after his 54-pitch outing this weekend. Should take his next rehab start Friday in, I think it's in Albuquerque for Tacoma.
Yeah.
And then assuming
the
isotopes, yes. Assuming that goes well, he would then be on track to return the following week in Houston. What do you make of the Houston decision rather than in Chicago?
Yeah, not a soft landing with those Crawford boxes down there, but not a Houston lineup, you know, from top to bottom as dominant as they've been in the past.
Not what it was.
No, not what it was.
Not what it once was. And Logan Gilbert, I don't think he's going to need too many rehab starts, you would think. I mean, he still had his spring training and all that and pitched this year, so it hasn't been nearly as long. But Logan is supposed to throw a bullpen today. So I think we'll have a little bit more info on where he's at after that.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Let's see, Brock, you wanted to know about Rick Tocchet yesterday. We got a little more news. This from Elliot Friedman of 32 Thoughts. Could he be the next head coach of the Kraken?
Also heard a good line about Rick Tocchet. The line I heard on Tocchet, it made me laugh, is he's not interviewing with teams. He's interviewing teams. Basically, he's interviewing them more than they're interviewing him. I think Seattle had a lot of interest in him. I'm not convinced that's going to happen.
That doesn't sound too promising.
It's not great.
Right? Doesn't that sound a lot like they want him more than he wants them?
Yeah, I don't love that.
Yeah, and I didn't love to hear that either. And then what do you make of the NBA and the frozen ping pong ball or whatever the heck happened yesterday? This is sketchy, right? Did you think that was sketchy that Dallas won the lottery?
Long odds. pretty long odds.
I mean, not just the odds, but given everything that had occurred this year and them giving, one of the best players in the league to the Lakers.
Think about every decade the NBA has kind of had one of these little conspiracy theories all the way back to the 80s when you and I were kids, Salky, and that frozen ping pong ball just happened to send Patrick Ewing to the New York Knickerbockers.
But there have been a whole bunch of others. I mean, this is like the fourth
LeBron,
one.
Cleveland.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty sketchy. I'm not going to lie. I thought that one was pretty sketchy last night.
What did I read? That Luka could be a free agent after next year, and he could even circle back to Dallas, and Dallas could have Cooper Flagg and Luka and AD, and old Nico could be looking pretty rosy.
There's no way all of that happens. All right, that's everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show.
The international games, Salk, they're out. The international games are
I know
out.
none for the Seahawks.
Nope.
Which is fine.
I would have picked Dublin.
Just because we've been there?
Yeah, just because,
Because we know it well?
It's a cool little island over there. Cool
It
little
is.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool little fans.
Yeah. You emphasized the little because you felt like a giant while you were walking around.
Well, there's a lot of little people.
Everyone there was smaller than you.
It wasn't like when I went to Guatemala. I mean, you're talking about little indigenous people there. Little. Like
Everybody in Dublin was gawking at Brock. Like, oh my God, look at the giant. They all thought he was a freak. Pretty funny. Okay, Brock. Jeff Passan going to join us next. What are we seeing here with the Mariners? How serious is this skid? That and a whole lot more next on Brock and Salk.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Even the guys that if you look at their average and go, they're not off to a good start, look at the on base. This team has been outstanding at working the pitcher, at taking walks. You look at Randy Arozarena, for instance. He's had huge hits. He's had some big moments that have been game-winning moments, but overall, he's not hitting that well. He's hitting 208, but he's got a 359 on base.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
All right, let's talk luxury. It awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. That's where comfort meets elegance. And this summer, it's going to be awesome, man. The new hotel is opening up in August. Going to be beautiful, world-class dining, more restaurants, and great entertainment like the Outdoor Summer Concert Series. It's back with Hanson, Austin Jenks, Melanie Fiona, POD, and more. All this summer, overlooking the beautiful Snoqualmie Valley. You know where to go for tickets. snocasino.com. Seattle's closest. It's now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Synthetic Turf Northwest is now open in Fife, your new South Sound headquarters for synthetic turf. Whether you're a DIY homeowner, contractor, or landscaper, they've got what you need. Premium turf in stock, expert advice, and all the tools to get the job done right. Want help with heavy lifting? Ask about their professional design and installation services. Conveniently located just off I-5 in Fife. Contact them today and save up to $1,000. Visit their new showroom at syntheticturfnorthwest.com. Synthetic Turf Northwest. Retail, wholesale, install, all in one place.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Making an Impact, sponsored by Granger. Ashley Crossan has just been named 2025 National Teacher of the Year for her impact on students. Who does she give the credit for this honor?
The kids are amazing. Like I don't have to do much because they come in, they show up, and they make the job easy.
For the ones who get it done, Granger offers professional-grade supplies and solutions, made for every industry and backed by product experts. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger. Granger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Need a new roof, a deck, siding, windows? Get up to $3,000 off any new installation. Hi, it's Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Home projects can add up fast, but we're here to help you save big. Book now and lock in up to $3,000 off in savings. That's $3,000 off any new installation. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Andre. Andre, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
My wife and I were going to get married, and we wanted to combine our insurance for both home and auto.
Were they able to save you any money?
The money they quoted us was actually the same as what we were paying separately. However, the coverage that we received was immensely greater than what we were previously receiving. It's quite scary how unprotected we were with our previous coverage. Under First Mark, I'd probably say we doubled the coverage that we had. It was a huge deal.
What would you tell others they can expect when they make that call to First Mark?
Take the 15-minute phone call. It's totally free. It's not going to cost me a thing. And the very least that could happen is just gain a better understanding. The best that could happen is you could either save money or get much better coverage, which is exactly what happened.
Andre did it. My family did it. You got to do it, and it's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge today. See how much they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com.
Synthetic Turf Northwest is now open in Fife, your new South Sound headquarters for synthetic turf. Whether you're a DIY homeowner, contractor, or landscaper, they've got what you need. Premium turf in stock, expert advice, and all the tools to get the job done right. Want help with heavy lifting? Ask about their professional design and installation services. Conveniently located just off I-5 in Fife. Contact them today and save up to $1,000. Visit their new showroom at syntheticturfnorthwest.com. Synthetic Turf Northwest. Retail, wholesale, install, all in one place.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Brock and Salk
Weekdays 6 to 10.
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Good morning, Jeff Passan. Good morning, Jeffrey Passan.
Hold on. That's the introduction?
Yeah, that's all you get today.
Great.
4 in a
How are
row.
you?
What do you want?
Yeah,
I'm serious today. We're not going to talk about your stupid AirPods and your dog's intestinal channel.
Yeah, we're torching the team today. We're getting angry, Jeff. They've lost four straight. Things are dire here.
Is that possible? Like, Brock, are you capable of torching?
No.
Not really. No.
No.
Too nice, Pastor. Did you find your
Brock,
AirPods last week?
I did. I'm wearing them right now. Brock, you would torch with like a Bic. Like Mike, I feel like Mike is like flamethrower guy from the movies. But Brock, you're too nice for that.
That's why we balance each other out. Yeah, like when I get upset about a guy bunting in the second inning against the Yankees, Brock's here to, balance that out a little bit.
How do you balance that one out, Brock?
Well, it's player empowerment. Severus has just been here a week or so. Maybe he didn't know. Maybe he missed the sign. Certainly, Dan didn't order the code red from the dugout there, and he's going to instill confidence in these guys. It'll be a teachable moment.
Yeah, well, there's a reason that the Rangers let him go.
Jeff, you're funny. So what are we watching? Seriously, 4-game losing streak here with the Mariners. They've given up 32 runs during these 4 games. Are we watching a little bump in the road, or are we watching a balloon popping?
I think it's more bump in the road than balloon popping. And it's very easy, a whole lot easier to get lost in a medium losing streak than it is to get consumed or engrossed by a long winning streak. It's just the nature of the sport. It's the nature of fandom. And sure, it would be nice if this team, not just had won those 4 games instead of lost them, but was playing the kind of baseball that we sort of got used to for a couple of weeks. And I know it's kind of spoiled, though. No, I'm not allowed to say that word.
No.
I know it's
no.
I learn your lesson, Jeffrey. I know that. When they're playing the kind of baseball that they were playing, you want that to never go away. But it's just not possible to maintain that over 162 games unless you're a great team. And this isn't a great team. I still think this is just a quite good team. And quite good guys in the American League West could be quite enough. There are just bound to be moments like this in the season, and I don't know. You guys know me. I'm not one to overreact one way or the other to long winning streaks or long losing streaks before we get to the end of May. And the Mariners still are in the position where I think ultimately they want to be, right?
Yeah, I think what's a little bit challenging is we're a couple weeks from your Memorial Day and end of May now, and the quarter pole of the season, and it's kind of been flipped on its head. I think if we're sitting here at 22-18 and the Mariners were pitching the way the Mariners have pitched the last 3 years and hit the way the Mariners have hit the last 3 years, I think people would kind of be able to say, yeah, this is kind of what I expected. But when it's kind of been flipped and the offense has been the one carrying a lot of this, and now through most metrics, Jeffrey, you look at it, and the pitching has been, it's been a problem and been a reason now that they've lost 4 in a row. As you look at the next level metrics with their pitching, what does jump out to you?
This ain't the staff that we've seen the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. Like that's and I think there's a caveat to all this. And that is that they've been doing this without Logan Gilbert and George Kirby, right? Now, if Gilbert and Kirby come back and the Mariners pitching staff continues to struggle like this, then I think it's reasonable to sound those alarm bells. But they are in a position right now, guys. The proverbial if you had told me scenario, if you had told me that Logan Gilbert was going to throw, how many innings has he thrown this year?
Logan?
Not a lot.
Not a lot, no. Yeah. Kirby's thrown 0. Logan's probably thrown, 30?
20. Yeah. If you had told me that Logan Gilbert was going to throw half as many innings as other, top starters, and George Kirby wasn't going to throw a single inning. And, oh, by the way, we're 2 weeks away from Memorial Day, and the Mariners are in first place. And on top of that, they actually have a really good offense. It would have been a total sign-me-up moment for everyone involved. So I understand your desire for having more from this team, and it's not unreasonable. Like, if in the same way, if you had told me that the Mariners are going to have one of the best offenses in baseball, I would have been like, they're running away with the division. And right now they are decidedly not running away with the division. The A's are nipping at their heels. The Astros are nipping at their heels. The Rangers are nipping at their heels. And the problematic part of all 3 of those things is that they're all 500 teams. And so if a 500 team is nipping at your heels, not where you want to be.
Yeah. By the way, I was very lucky. 30.1 innings for Logan Gilbert this year. So, not what you would have hoped.
You're good, Mike.
I'm lucky is what I am, Jeff. So let me ask you then. We've been having a little bit of a debate, and it goes back to some of that first question I asked you or just was complaining about with the bunt last night. We spent some time this morning talking about kind of a two Dans situation. There's this one Dan Wilson that we are scratching our heads at times about some of the in-game decision-making, and it does not seem to always make a ton of sense from the modern baseball standpoint, versus this other Dan Wilson that seems to have an incredible hold over the clubhouse, an incredible hold over the philosophy and aggressiveness overall of the team, and seems to really, seems to be impacting the culture in general in a very positive way. How do you balance those two parts or those two elements of a manager's job in today's game?
You hope that one does not far outweigh the other. And if it does, you hope the ugly side just doesn't rear its head particularly often. But when you have 162 games, there are going to be quite a few moments of strategy where it's on the manager. And there is no quicker way into the doghouse of fans than bad button pushing. And I think some of that is reps, right? A lot of guys who are managing now, the majority still, did have minor league managing experience. And they were in those scenarios where they learned and they made the right call or made the wrong call, and then next time around didn't do it again. And part of me wonders if some of this is just Dan Wilson as first-time manager being the guy who hasn't made those mistakes and almost needs to experience them in order to learn from them. So, listen, give me the guy all day who has a hold over the clubhouse. That, to me, is the hard part. Like, strategy can be learned, feel can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dan Wilson's got a lot of feel, and so I'm going to lean into that and say that there are enough people in the organization who have an understanding of proper strategic moves that they will be able to figure out how to get him on the right path there.
Jeffrey, if you wouldn't mind pulling up your computer now that you got your AirPods in and pulling up your fancy-dancy Savant pages or stats or your databases that the great John Clayton had, if you wouldn't mind pulling up both Bryce Miller and Luis Castillo, because I think therein also is some of the nervousness of Mariner fans. Like if it was just Emerson or Logan Evans or Luis F. Castillo that were, getting hit and kind of getting rocked again because of inexperience and otherwise, you kind of live with that. Some of the challenge of this start has been the struggles that we have not seen ever of Bryce Miller and maybe some of Luis Castillo at 32, velo down, whiff rate down, some of these things kind of starting to pop a little bit. I'm curious, we'll start with Bryce. As you kind of look at his next level numbers, what pops out to Jeff Passan?
I'm going to answer both of them at once because they both have the same problem. They're not striking out enough guys and they're walking too many.
Yeah.
And that is a recipe for disaster right there. The beauty of this Mariners staff over the last few years, guys, is Gilbert came up, as Kirby came up, as Miller and Wu came up and cemented themselves in this rotation, is that all five guys punch guys out and all five guys don't walk people. And it's a sign, depending on who it is, because I think it's a little bit different between Castillo and Miller. I think Miller's he's just lacking feel right now. He doesn't have his stuff. Something is impeding it. When you see those numbers going in the opposite direction, it's usually somebody doesn't have feel on his pitches. And I think that's probably the case with Miller right now, whereas with Castillo, the quality of the stuff is just out, and I think maybe he's learning on the fly how he needs to pitch with the new repertoire.
What does that look like
Luis Castillo,
now? Just to focus on that with Castillo, and I know what that used to look like back in the day. What does it look like for the modern pitcher to develop and evolve into his 30s without the same stuff he used to have?
I think that depends on who the guy is and his pitch ability, and that's why to me it's confusing with Luis Castillo.
Can you explain that term? Because I hear that a lot. What do you mean by pitchability?
Pitchability is with the stuff that you have, what you are capable of doing with it. It's essentially a term that's used for guys who don't throw particularly hard and yet still find a way to be effective. And, there are examples of this all around Major League Baseball. I think a guy like Michael Wacha is really interesting. His stuff was never quite as good as Luis Castillo's, but Wacha was a guy whose fastball was mid to upper 90s, whose best pitch was and continues to be his changeup, and that to me is where I would theoretically see hope for Luis Castillo. I would be looking at that changeup, which has been such an outpitch of his, and the changeup's just not very good right now, and the fastball is below average, and the slider is there, and what you need to do at that point is become a command pitcher. You need to become somebody. And command, guys, just if we're doing definition hour here, command is very simple. It is the ability to put the ball precisely where you want. Control is the ability to throw a baseball for strikes. Command is the ability for you to give me a spot and me to hit it with multiple pitches. And Luis Castillo, I think, right now doesn't really have a whole lot of either. Certainly not command. And in order to aid gracefully as a pitcher, you need to develop that kind of command. Let's use Nathan Eovaldi, for example. He's got a bigger repertoire than Castillo. Eovaldi's always thrown 6 pitches, but over time, what has allowed him to maintain his effectiveness in the face of declining and diminishing velocity is that he doesn't walk guys. And if you don't walk guys, man, does that make up for a lot. It just allows you a greater margin of error. Home runs don't hurt nearly as much because you don't have guys who you put on base without essentially doing a whole lot. And right now, the Mariners starters, they simply are not throwing enough quality strikes. And unless that changes, they are going to continue, guys, to be ineffective.
We have, during the draft season, Daniel Jeremiah on our show every Wednesday, Jeff, and it's super fun, right? And he is to kind of his databases as you are to all of your numbers. And he would tell you that I think in the history of the NFL, or certainly the last 30 years in the modern era, that a big receiver that runs 4.6 or worse just doesn't make it. It's like Mike Evans and nobody else. Like that difference between 4.4 and 4.6 is that tangible. Can Bryce Miller and Luis Castillo be what they have been if their fastballs are 92, 93, and not 95 and 97?
Absolutely. Like, for sure, you can be an effective pitcher in Major League Baseball in the, I guess, low 90s. I mean, I look at a guy like Jose Quintana, Andrew Heaney this year, Ben Lively the last couple of years. Those are guys who are all sort of hovering around 90 miles per hour. A guy like Chris Bassett is more like a, 91 to 92 guy. Seth Lugo is at 92. He also throws like 11 pitches. But, yeah, it's possible.
Okay.
It's just really hard. Yeah. And because they have been pitchability guys with velocity, because this Mariners, practically the entire rotation has has shown over the last few years the ability to look like an ace at any given time. I think that they can evolve into that. With Miller, I'm not sure it's necessary. I think Miller's stuff still has a little bit of hop to it. But Castillo, it's down. It's different. And I don't know, man, if you are a sinker baller, maybe focusing on less on swing and miss and more on weak contact is the kind of evolution that Luis Castillo needs to embrace. Now, listen, there's a chance that his stuff could come back, and maybe his arm's hurting right now when figures out how to get past that, or maybe he finds a way to pick up what he's working with.
I think you're onto something there, Jeff, because I think some of his best starts have been when they've needed him to go deep, and he has pitched more to contact, and he has thrown a lot more of the sinker. Yep. I think you're actually very much onto something there. All right, let me ask you about something ridiculous. Maybe this is a very short conversation, but I'll at least ask you about it because we are lucky enough to have you on the show today. I have seen some probably silly suggestions out there that the Pirates should trade Paul Skeens. Now, I would be shocked if that was going to happen. But to play along with this scenario, if the Pirates were to trade Paul Skeens, should the Mariners be interested? And if so, how much of their stockpile of 9 top 100 prospects would they have to give up to get him?
Yes, they should be extraordinarily interested because I think you could probably make the argument that aside from Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens is the best pitcher in baseball right now. And how much would I be willing to give up? A lot. But I think that the Pirates, if they were to trade Skeens, would want Gilbert or Kirby as the headliner. And that is not something I'm quite assured that I would do. If they want a prospect package, though, yes, just give it to them. If they want Emerson, give them to them. If they want, Celestin, give them to them. If they want Ryan Sloan, give them to them.
What if they want some of those guys and one of your 5 starters? Maybe it's not Bryce or Logan, but Logan or George. What if it's Brian Wu?
Yeah, I would include Brian Wu. Just because I still haven't seen a full season from him. Mm-hmm. And I as great as Wu is capable of being, as great as we have seen him be, there's still that thing in the back of my head that says that this guy, until he goes out and throws 180 innings in a season, I just don't know, man. I would much rather have Paul Skeens there. And to go into a playoff series with Skeens, Gilbert, Kirby is an absurd hurdle for your opponent to leap. It's not everything. It's not going to guarantee you winning those series, but it's sure going to put you in a great position to go out and win it. So, yeah, I think in Major League Baseball, when it comes to stars, get them. And that especially goes on the position playing side, but I think it's applicable with pitchers too. Now, granted, I'd be scared. and I'd be scared because this is such a high-risk trade. Mm-hmm. And let's say that Paul Skeens, I hope this does not happen, but let's say Paul Skeens blows out his elbow in June or July. You are missing him for that playoff run, and best case scenario, you're getting him back right around the time of the playoffs the next year, and you just don't know what you're going to be getting. And then you have another season on top of that where usually it takes a year for a guy to get feel when he's coming back from Tommy John. So it's just you would be making this move to try and hit in a specific window. The downside, though, is terrifying. If we're talking about a position player with Paul Skeens' pedigree, if we're talking about like a frontline young guy who's going to put up 6 or 7 or 8 wins above replacement, I would give up pretty much anyone they ask for. Just because with position players, if you can get a guy who is what Julio was supposed to be, you just are willing to overpay for that. And I think part of it, we're getting to the point now, guys, where the Mariners have been so consistently excellent at identifying, drafting/signing, and developing players that if they're confident that this is part of their future, that this is something that they believe that they can replicate, it gives you even more incentive to start trading some of these guys for established big leaguers.
It's fascinating. What's fascinating, Jeff, is you're having this conversation is like crazy as it would be for the Pirates to trade Skeens. There's a big part of me sitting here on the other side going, it would be crazy for the Mariners to be trading from a situation they've never had. They got 9 top 100 guys. It's not just one Julio or one Cal, that's right. You've got player after player after player, right? And you've been patient and patient and patient in this like chasm between where your pitching is and all these prospects coming is closing and closing and closing. Why would the Mariners ever now at this point be on the crazy side and trade a Selznick and Emerson, a Roy, like all of this amazing talent that they've never had in this kind of volume?
And totally reasonable. Like it's hard to construct a counter argument to that other than this is a ringless franchise, and there needs to be urgency at some point. And sometimes the Mariners are in the position that they're in right now, guys, because you can accuse them of good decision making and of good process. And going and sending a bunch of prospects and the control that you have over them away for a single guy is the epitome of eggs in one basket management. And that sort of thing tends not to work out well.
Yeah, it's not worked out great in the past.
It especially goes against the risk matrix that this team seems to employ. Jerry DiPoto's reputation for a guy who's kind of shooting at the hip a little bit, both verbally and managerially, it's very well established at this point. But I'm not sure it's quite as fair on the managerial side. The guy has made a lot of trades, but if you go and look at those trades, none of them have been like uber risky. Doing something like what you're proposing, Brock, that would be incredibly risky. And the reward's a parade. And when you hear me say something like that, it just brings out emotions, I imagine, in everyone. Imagine getting to be a part of that. And if this is the move that gets us there, we have to do it. And if we're so good at drafting and developing guys and turning Logan Evans from, 5th-round pick into what he is right now and hitting downdraft guys, then we can weather it. And we should, because getting superstars, as we know, is a really hard thing to do. But, to be honest, that's what the 3rd pick in the draft is for.
I was just about to say, even a little easier when you've got the 3rd pick in the upcoming draft. So, Jeff, we could go and talk about this for another hour. I will just read you a text from our texter, Carter from Tacoma. Why can't Passan be on video so we can see his dumb, ageless smile? Is that what you have?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I mean, I think that's a compliment, but I don't know.
Is it? But is it?
It
really
is.
Right in between.
We have been verging. I did not anticipate this happening. We have been verging into uncomfortable territory in recent weeks when it comes to comments on my looks that I frankly never anticipated. When I was on Monday Night Raw a couple of weeks ago, the general response was, why does he look like the children that he's standing next to? and that was, that was okay.
Right.
But once it started getting into this guy looks like he has body parts in his refrigerator. That's where it was a little much.
You don't want that.
That's where it was a little much.
That goes too far. Jeff,
you know what? Let's do video next week.
all
How
right,
about
video next week with Jeff Passan. That's a promise. Jeff, we will talk to you then. Thank you, sir.
See you, boys.
All right, there you go. There's Jeff Passan, our weekly conversation with him, and you never know exactly where it's going to go, Brock. There's certainly a lot in there. We'll come back to some of that at 9:30. Oh, no, we won't. Maybe,
No, we
but
won't.
I know.
Come
We
back
got
to it next,
EY.
dude.
Huh?
You better come back to it next.
I can't. I gotta play the sound, man.
Oh, geez.
I gotta play the sound. I gotta play this for you because I this came out yesterday and my jaw dropped. Except that it didn't. It was immediate. It was like halfway dropped and then came back up. I'll play it for you next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
For some people that are just committed to being mad at the team or they stink, you just wait. You know, they're desperate to be right about them not being good. So this was their first chance to go, see? Yeah, there's the real team. I'm like, so the real team is the one we saw in these 3 games and not the previous 9 series.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Your summer starts here in a new Toyota. Now through June 2nd, get a stylish new 25 Corolla with 4.99 APR financing. Excludes hybrids Corolla Cross and GR Corolla. Or lease a gas-powered Corolla LE for $239 a month for 36 months with $29.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. A negotiable doc fee of up to $200 may be added. Call 1-888-48-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Summer is on everyone's mind, and many of us ladies, well, you men too, would like to get rid of that extra stubborn fat and address those areas of loose skin like around the waistline, chin, and upper arms. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat-freezing methods, even those new pills, but without getting the results you were hoping for. Introducing ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. ProSculpt is minimally invasive, performed while you're fully awake, and it's gentle yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate and permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation, and for a limited time, get $250 off. Feel confident this summer with instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening that works for women and men too. ProSculpt.com.
Upgrade your home cooling before the summer heat with Home Comfort Alliance and save up to $6,000 while taking 18 months to pay with zero interest. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com. That's HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement. Book a free estimate online, and when you meet with Brandon, that's Don's son, tell him you heard the message on the radio station. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. It's Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
full details and disclaimer.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin D3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Mariners fans, it's time to bring the noise to T-Mobile Park. This lineup is loaded up and locked in. From every moonshot.
Now Raleigh obliterates this. How far? Way back there.
To every how in the world did he catch that moment?
Top play. Air Williamson reels it in.
Be here as the squad shuts the door and lights the W.
Munoz looking for the final out. Here's the stretch and a 2-2 on the way to Young. It is strike three called and the ball game is over.
This is our house.
They're going crazy here at T-Mobile Park.
Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
Be here for this week's Mariners marquee matchup. Cal Raleigh and the crew are squaring off against Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees tonight at 6:40 and tomorrow afternoon at 1:10. Don't miss the action. Go to mariners.com/tickets to lock in your seats for this ALE showdown at T-Mobile Park.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Get his freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Ewert is my hero.
Jay Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
We're going to do you on the interview.
Doesn't really work that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
All right, is Dave Sims like all the rest of us, or does he need to be held to a higher standard? I think that's a question here, Brock. We're going to talk to Mariners first base coach Eric Young Jr. coming up in 30 minutes at 9:30. But let me play you some of this sound. So Dave Sims, of course, longtime voice here of the Mariners, who left in the offseason, went back to New York, and took a dream job as the play-by-play voice on the radio of the Yankees, along with Susan Waldman. Yesterday, he was on the pregame show here on our station, talking about and getting, honestly choked up about what an important part of his life this was.
It's great to be back, guys. I'm getting misty here for good reason. I mean, I loved it here. And you guys, it was a huge part of my life. Huge. And, back before you got here, and Shannon, you were here, but Rick, you and Kevin and Dave were unbelievably welcoming. I mean, it was like a foreigner coming in here. East Coast guy. Nobody knew who the hell he was. Who's this black guy coming in? He does football and basketball. What the hell does he know about baseball? What the hell is this?
Hats.
Yeah, hats, right.
Lots of hats.
Yeah. So, no, it worked out. I mean, this is a big part of my life, and I'm proud of it.
All right, so Dave is going about his business, right? Doing his hey nows and all of that, and he's back, and he took a couple days before while the Yankees were in Sacramento. He skipped that part of the trip, and he came here to spend Mother's Day weekend visiting people in Seattle ahead of the series. Apparently, that became quite the situation in New York on WFAN, where Boomer Esiason turned that into a full segment.
Yeah, Mother's Day weekend. Maybe he wanted to see family.
He's from New York.
Oh,
he's got some family out there.
But he was in Seattle for 15 years?
Yeah. All right. So
maybe their kids live out there and they wanted to see.
Sign a deal to do the Yankees?
I don't know.
I mean, John Sterling didn't miss any games, did he?
He did not miss many games.
At the end, he missed a couple.
Well, if he did, because he was sick or something.
Right.
Or because, he was in his 80s and he didn't want to travel to certain games because of COVID.
He
I
did do, 2,000 straight games, something like that?
He did. But once you just take a week off?
No, it wasn't a week. It was a weekend.
I'm sorry. I love Dave Sims, but, unless there's something major going on that I don't know about, then I'll gladly retract the criticism.
Otherwise, get your ass in the booth.
Yeah, what are you doing? You just took the Yankee job. It's supposed to be the job of your life.
Right, and so that goes on, Brock, into the next break.
So we said a lot of really great things about Mr. Dave Sims.
Had him in the studio, remember?
We love Dave Sims, but I'm going to call it out as I see it. I mean, he just got started as the Yankee announcer, and he's 40 games into his career as the Yankee announcer. He decided to take off.
Yeah, I think that would be the bigger point if I'm just evaluating this from the outside.
No, you're not on the outside. You're on the inside.
All right, so there's a million different directions you could go with all of this, Brock. Your immediate thoughts?
My immediate thought is a blonde-haired former left-handed quarterback made similar comments early in my career about guys golfing on their off day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you doing golfing on your off day? You lost 3 games in a row. You're ridiculous. Like, I had some cringeworthy thoughts back to maybe some of my early radio days. On the flip side, this is New York. This is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
This is a standard you're held to. When you replace John Sterling, who did 2,000 straight games, those are the shoes you're walking into.
Yeah.
As unhealthy as that may be, as ridiculous and coltish as that may be, that is the market that you are finding yourself in.
Yeah,
and the standard, right? The standard is the standard. You're going to hear that a lot from me probably this fall. Like, the standard is the standard. You hear that from Mike Macdonald. Heard it last night in my coaches meeting. The standard is a standard. And the standard in New York is going to be a different standard than it will be in some other markets.
There is no doubt about all of that. And I'm sure, Dave is finding how different things are going back east and sort of just what that's like, and being in the public eye in a completely different way and under more scrutiny than certainly you would be here in this town. I'm not completely adverse to Boomer's point that, hey, you just got the gig. It's a huge gig. I'm probably not going to go as far as being like, it's the Yankees. Nobody would ever take a day off on the Yankees, because that's just ridiculous. But I do understand some of his point of like, hey, you just got this gig. It's your dream job. 40 games in, you're taking a weekend off. I understand that.
Sure.
Here's the difference, though, and here's where I think if I were on that show, which I'm not, I might have clapped back. Be like, Dave Sims isn't 25.
No.
Dave Sims is 72 years old. He didn't just get this
Looks
job.
like he's 52, but he's
unbelievably
72.
looks great for his age. But Dave Sims is 72 years old. He's been doing this long enough that if he wants to take a day off, I think he deserves that day off, or 3 over the weekend to come see his family. And I'm sure that was worked into whatever contract negotiations he had when he first took the job. There was an expectation that he'd have a certain number of days off and that he wasn't going to be
most of
working
those guys
162 a year anymore.
I think it's about 150, most of them.
If he was my age, 45, 47, 50, 28, like Lyle's age, like a baby, and gotten this job, I can understand. He's 72.
Yeah.
That warrants mentioning, does it not? That he's been in the business and done this long enough to have earned some of that time off.
I mean, what I hear is what you hate about the Yankees. That they think because it's the Yankees.
It's awful.
How could you take time off from this treasured, cherished organization?
It's
You're
disgusting.
lucky to have this job.
It's disgusting, and that is absolutely the sense you get. You're lucky to have this job. How dare you treat it that way? Which, look, I get it. It is arguably...
Is it not the number one job in
It's
baseball?
arguably the biggest job in baseball. It's certainly right in the top 5, right? I mean, baseball, between radio and TV and all of that, and there is an element of that. But he's 72. He's not 30. He's 72, and I do think that matters.
You know what happens when you never take a day off, despite it being the big bad Yankees? You know what happens when you never take a day off? You start to sound like this when you start calling games.
The pitch to Stanton. There it goes. Deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone out of the ballpark. A Stantonian home run. Now, what did I do wrong? What did I see wrong? He's at first base.
Son of a gun. Just missed. Just missed on that one.
That was off the wall at Fenway. So
anyway, so there you go. That is the latest on Dave Sims and what he's now dealing with after having.
You think
gone
Dave
back
claps
home to New
back?
York. I don't know. That's a
you
good
think
question.
Dave goes on that show and
Probably not.
calls Boomer out? You don't think so?
Maybe he goes on the show. It depends how real the Boomer thing is, where he said that they love Dave Sims, right? Like, does he actually believe that, or is that just sort of eyewash to cover a rip job that's coming? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what their relationship is. I would assume that factors in. But this was big national headlines, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this was a big deal yesterday. Whew. All right, coming up next, we'll give you everything you need to know. And then EY Jr., Eric Young Jr., Mariners' first base coach, base running coach on the aggressive M's. Still to come on Brock and Salk.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Even the guys that if you look at their average and go, they're not off to a good start, look at the on base. This team has been outstanding at working the pitcher, at taking walks. You look at Randy Arozarena, for instance. He's had huge hits. He's had some big moments that have been game-winning moments, but overall, he's not hitting that well. He's hitting 208, but he's got a 359 on base.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
I love talking to you guys about Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, mostly just because the plan is so effective. If you need to lose weight, this is how you do it. It just works. And it works because it's not that difficult. You're not that hungry. You're not eating fake prepackaged meals or anything like that. It's all real food that you buy at the grocery store. And then even better, it tastes good because they've got awesome recipes and you make all that food at home and yeah, you eat really well. I made this awesome meal last night that I'll have a little bit more for lunch today. It was like a steamed cabbage, and then you end up rolling the leaves with pork and beef and onion and some seasoning and tomato sauce. Unbelievable. And it really does work because you watch the weight just fall off while you're eating pretty delicious meals in the right proportion. So Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, it is designed to develop long-term lifestyle habits that will keep you at your target weight. I did it. I lost 35 pounds. Ryan Roland Smith's doing it. He's lost 30 plus. This thing works. It starts with a 15-minute phone call. You can schedule it now at eastsideweightlossclinic.com and just see that this is right for you. Go to eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software, upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Warmer weather, more sunlight, and your new car. That's right. At Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton, summer starts here. With their combined inventory of new, used, and certified pre-owned inventory, you're in for a summer to remember. Their fantastic teams will set you up with a test drive so you can ride off into that summer sun the same day. Summer starts here at Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton. Whether you're in the north or the south, they got you covered. Visit their incredible showrooms today or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and toyotaofrenton.com.
O'Brien. We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Michael Bumpus here, and golfers, how does a golf handicap level up your game? First, it levels the playing field so you can compete with golfers of any skill level. 2, shooting par isn't realistic for many of us, so a handicap can set achievable goals on your actual skill level. Lastly, tracking your progress helps you set goals towards improvement like I have. You can get a handicap index in 3 easy steps. Sign up for a handicap ID, post your scores, and after 3 18-hole rounds, you got it. To learn more, visit wagolf.org/710.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only, take up to $2,500 off an energy-efficient Bryant cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
Yeah, I have a ton of really memorable customers. One of my favorite customers I've ever had, he came in and had a really bad experience with several different dealerships. He just lost his husband. His husband left him with a truck, and he was like, I don't need a truck. Like, this is so impractical for me. And it was a really emotional decision for him because it was one of the last things that he had, obviously husbands. We were like, it's no problem. Like, we're going to help you. And we did the process the same way that we always do the process. And we helped him trade in his truck for a beautiful new Rogue. And that was really cool. And he bought his second car from us. And I'm sure when he needs a third car, he'll come back and buy his third car from Nissan too. Afterwards, to thank us, he sent us this beautiful basket of like candies and fruits and stuff.
Making a great day for the people around you is making a great day for yourself. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
4 straight now the Mariners have lost. Yesterday kind of got away from them, much like the day before. It kind of looked like it was going to be a close game early, and then Yankees kind of blow it open in the 5th inning as they score 6 runs in that inning and chase Emerson Hancock. But I got to give the Mariners credit. They keep battling back. Cal hits a 2-run shot to get it to 8-5, and you're like, all right, maybe there's a chance here late for some, incredible comeback magic, but Anthony Volpe pretty much took care of that.
Next off for a swing and a high drive deep into the gap in left center field. Julio going back, looking up, and goodbye baseball. Anthony Volpe with his 6th home run of the season out to the pen. 2 runs are in for the Yankees here in the top of the 9th, and they now lead it 10-5.
They got one more on a sac fly, more on that to come, but 11-5 your final last night, Brock.
Yeah, it was going well early, right? Couple home runs, some solo shots. Julio stays hot, hits his 7th of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and Emerson's kind of wiggling out of some trouble and some walks and holds those guys to just 1 run in the 4th inning, and then the Yankees kind of do what that lineup is capable of doing, and it's a home run here, it's some base runners there, it's a lot of hard hits in that 5th inning, and you look up and there's that crooked number. And that's kind of been a little bit of the theme here, right? In this 4-game losing streak, you've not had that 3-run home run. You've not had that crooked number in an inning to kind of give you leverage over the game. Both the Blue Jays for 3 and the Yankees last night have been getting it done.
Yeah, 32 runs the Mariners have given up during this 4-game skid. That is a lot. That's a lot of runs. That's 8 per game. It's asking your offense to score 9, which is not going to work most nights. Scary moment, as I said, in the 9th inning. Oswaldo Cabrera, Yankees third baseman, scores on a sac fly, but kind of turned around awkwardly, and it sure looks like some sort of a broken leg, broken ankle, whatever. He had his leg immobilized in an air cast, was taken off in a stretcher in an ambulance. It was a pretty ugly scene.
Yeah, that just kind of zapped all the juice and the level of concern, the level of pain that he was in, and see all the teammates and the shots of that. Those are uncomfortable situations.
The teammates were all very supportive. Most of the Yankees fans they showed in the crowd seemed to be hooting and hollering and laughing it up.
Yeah,
I was shocked as they went around the stands, and all of the people wearing their Yankees jerseys were just like talking to each other, laughing, could care less about what was happening out there.
That can be an emotional hit, man, when you lose a player to a catastrophic injury. That's not a I mean, that was not even like a blown out knee that you said.
Right.
I mean, that was just catastrophic, foot pointed the wrong way. Just a terrible, terrible deal for him.
They'll get back to it tonight. Yankees lefty Max Fried. He's been tremendous this year. An ERA just over 1. He's 6-0, whatever that's worth. Mariners will have Brian Wu.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Still waiting on George Kirby and Logan Gilbert. The latest is this. Kirby will start again on Friday for Tacoma in Albuquerque, and assuming that goes well, he would be on track to return to the team the following week in Houston. Logan Gilbert plans to throw a bullpen session today, an actual bullpen. He threw to a standing catcher 2 days ago, I think. So no word yet on whether he would have a rehab start or when, but obviously good to see the progress.
Yeah, I sure hope with Logan we don't hear what we've heard in the past with guys, and that is just, he's going to go get another opinion. With Brash and with Robbie Ray, and we've kind of been down this road a little bit, and these are the critical hurdles. It's not the week after or 2 weeks after. It is now ramping back up and not throwing at half speed or three-quarter speed. When you ramp that thing back up, does that flexor bundle, has it totally settled down, and is he going to be okay, or the other side of that, which is
we won't even say what that might be, because it's not what anybody wants to hear.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Seahawks are getting these draft picks signed, 8 of the 11 under contract, including Gray Zabel, who gets a fully guaranteed 4-year deal worth about $18.5 million. 8 of 11. The 3 remaining are your 2 second-rounders and your third-rounder, Eamon, Arroyo, and Milroe.
I remember when I was drafted in the third round, and in total ignorance, thought, well, you know what? I remember telling Marvin Demoff, well, you know what, Marvin, I'm a quarterback, Aren't quarterbacks a little bit in their premium? Marvin, we didn't have a second-round pick, so isn't there more of like a pool of money? And he was just like, nope. And
this works.
This is where you're slotted. This is what, last year's got. This is what's going to get before you and after you, and this is the situation. And now there is a little, not a worry meter, and it will get done. But Eamon is a little bit different because the Texans decided for the first time to fully guarantee
Why do they do that?
all the money for the first pick of the second round.
Why?
I don't know. But I'm sure their peers around them at the pick after, and the Seahawks with the pick after that,
what
are
you
like,
doing?
What the heck are you doing?
Why are you doing that?
Why are you screwing it up for all the rest?
Seriously, that is surprising that they would do something like that. Schedule will come out in full tomorrow night. Little bits and pieces trickling out so far. Nothing involving the Seahawks yet, but it seems like they will not be going abroad at all this year. That is everything you need to know. 1:15 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. All right, so we're going to talk to Eric Young in a minute. Are we going to answer the question jerk after that? Or?
I would like to. I mean, we haven't done Lyle's, any of his Monday stuff for weeks now.
Right.
He's so busy.
I know. The poor guy can barely wake up. It's hard.
Yes, he's watching Drake and Josh reruns on Nickelodeon. I'm so tired.
Yes. So you want to answer some questions after UI? All right. Well, then let me open it up for that. A text line, of course, 866-979-3776. Any question on any subject, always good to answer your questions, whatever they are. 866-979-3776. We usually like a good etiquette question or two, but whatever's on your mind, we will answer those at 9:45, right after we talk to Mariners first base and running coach, base running coach, Eric Young Jr. It's next on Brock and Salk.
4 down territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What does the release of River Craycraft say about the wide receiver room?
It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing for Craycraft because he's a Coug, a solid player in this league, right? Just a consistent practice squad, special teams. But it also shows that they are interested in some young talent over there, 6'1", 185. So there's competition in that receiver room.
4 down territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Was drafted in 1999 by the Philadelphia 76ers, and that was just absolutely a dream come true.
Todd's playing in the NBA is unique. His battle with neuropathy is not.
I first started noticing problems a couple of years into my NBA career, and I felt like my sock was just balled up right in the arch of my foot, and there'd be areas of burning and tingling, and then there'd be other areas of deadness where there would be no response to touch. We tried everything possible, from surgery to different drugs, to try and take care of some of the symptoms.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, non-drug, pain-free procedures that have helped thousands of neuropathy sufferers find relief.
Now I'm able to spend more time doing the things that I enjoy, being on my feet.
If you experience numbness, shooting, or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement. Book a free estimate online, and when you meet with Brandon, that's Don's son, tell him you heard the message on the radio station. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. It's Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Washington is leading the way in car theft reduction. Car thefts dropped by 32% from 2023 to 2024 in our state, but there's still work to be done. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips are brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
G. Scott here with former Seahawk Doug Baldwin. Tell us about Nourishing Champions.
We know the benefits for young people in sports, but we often don't think about the barriers. And one of those barriers is having proper nutrition. So Nourishing Champions, in partnership with Champions of Change and Safeway, is an effort to address those barriers so that our student athletes have what they need to excel both on the field and in the classroom.
High schools can apply for grants up to $25,000 from Nourishing Champions. Learn more at championsofchangefoundation.org/Nourishing Champions.
John Curley here. Smart homeowners are upgrading heat pumps and air conditioners now before the summer heat wave with incredible rebates and discounts that'll save you up to $6,000. Home Comfort Alliance makes paying easy with 18 months, same as cash financing. Call Home Comfort Alliance today for a free quote and save up to $6,000. For your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, visit HomeComfortAlliance.com today. That's HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Synthetic Turf Northwest is now open in Fife, your new South Sound headquarters for synthetic turf. Whether you're a DIY homeowner, contractor, or landscaper, they've got what you need. Premium turf in stock, expert advice, and all the tools to get the job done right. Want help with heavy lifting? Ask about their professional design and installation services. Conveniently located just off I-5 in Fife. Contact them today and save up to $1,000. Visit their new showroom at syntheticturfnorthwest.com. Synthetic Turf Northwest. Retail, wholesale, install, all in one place.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, we will answer some questions, Brock, in 15 minutes. We obviously would need some sent in. We got a few, but we could use more. 866-979-3776 is the text line for a little Answer the Question jerk coming up here in 15 minutes. I know, Brock, last week I was struggling with the guest booking. I had 2 in a row that just didn't work out. So thankfully today, I've reached base, and you know what you get when you reach base? You get to hang out with the first base coach, and that's who's with us, Eric Young Jr., EY Jr. Good morning, sir. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Oh, good morning. Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, I got to start here because I wanted to get a chance to catch up with you in spring training, and we were never able to make it work out. But I was observing you.
Mesmerized.
I was mesmerized watching you in the first base coaching box, essentially getting into a runner's stance and getting ready to go. What is the history behind that?
Well, naturally, as a player, I was a base stealer, so I just have to stay ready at all times. So if I feel it, I'm gonna pass that information along to the runners, and hopefully they see the same thing that I'm able to see, and translate it over into their own game.
So is that is it sort of trying to see the game almost through their eyes?
Pretty much, just going through old habits and things that got me ready for a game, and let it translate over now to me coaching, and then passing that information along to the guys. Every player is different, so you're not sure what they're going to see or if they're going to feel the same thing, and hopefully they do. If not, we definitely got to utilize something to cater to their strengths.
See, Salk's mesmerized by that. I'm mesmerized by 2 other factors. 12 days from now, you're going to be 40. I mean, are you prepared for the 4? Are you prepared for the 4-0?
As prepared I'm going to be. I'm excited. I'm excited to get older. Big milestone 4-0, but it's definitely fun being with these group of guys that I'm going to be with on my birthday. So I'm excited.
Okay, and then equally, a football scholarship to Villanova was on the table. You said no to a football scholarship to Villanova. Were you a running back? Were you a little slot receiver, linebacker? What was your game?
Defensive back. Actually, I was going to be going down there as a cornerback for them, and I could play slot receiver as well, but the scholarship was going to be for a defensive back.
You know what they say about DBs, Saul?
That they're wide receivers who can't catch?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they say.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
This is the first time he's been a guest on our show. You're not going to say those things.
I know that. Well, I'm sure he heard about this show and was like, okay, I better be ready. I better gird my loins and be ready to go for these 2 guys, and you more than doing that. Okay, back to baseball then. Serious question. Base stealing, innate? Is it something that's innate as you look at the great base stealers and you led the National League back in the day for a season, or is that something that can truly be trained and coached up?
I believe it's a little bit of both. You got guys who probably have tremendous speed, but maybe not necessarily have the instincts or the know-how of when to go, trying to select a certain pitch. Then you got guys who aren't as fast, who are amazing at it, and still find ways to utilize and get stolen bases. So I think it's a little bit of both. If you have the innate ability, then you already put yourself at an advantage, and then if you actually know what you're looking for and train properly, I think it makes you that much better. But there's a ton of guys who aren't that fast, but definitely can steal bases just because they have the know-how and situational awareness to take advantage.
Yeah, is the word feel? You used that word earlier. Is there a feel element to stealing bases in the big leagues?
Yes. I mean, you obviously, once you get into the cat and mouse game, the team's trying to pick you off or put their catcher in positions to try to throw you out, and just having a feel for all those scenarios that's going on the field. And like I said, trying to take advantage of it. That's just, knowing the game, understanding what's happening out there, how the pitcher's pitching to the batter that's in the box at the time, and definitely trying to take advantage of it.
I think over the years we've learned what third base coaches do, and obviously, they have this one really big moment anytime you got to decide whether to send a runner or not. What is a first base coach doing over the course of a game?
Trying to get that runner into a position to make life easier for the third base coach. Obviously trying to get in the scoring position, how the defense is playing, just making sure they know the situation of the game. If arms in the outfield are fairly good, if that's somebody we could take advantage of, if a ball is hit out that way, how they're positioned, that way you be like, hey, look, if a ball's hit this way, you need to be able to score, which in turn makes the third base jobs, coaches a lot easier. Because they're looking at the play and trying to make a decision off of what they're seeing out on the field, and you need to have trust that runner is running as hard as they can and cutting the angles to try to score, so they can make that decision a lot quicker.
Eric Young Jr. here with us. How much different is that today? Is base stealing today, base running today, than it was 10, 12, 15 years ago for you?
I think the new rules definitely brought more love back into base running. With only the 2 or 3 pickoffs that you can do, and now you have to make a decision. And whereas when I was playing, you could pick off as many times as you want. So you definitely had to really, play the cat and mouse game. In my era, because they could pick off as many times as you want. Now it's a little more catered to trying to get some more action on the bases, which I'm not complaining about. Obviously, that's a love of mine. So it makes the guys more excited to get out there and try to, gain the extra 90 feet and get in the scoring position to try to score.
I'm sure you wouldn't have minded the bases being just slightly closer together, too, with the bigger bases. I mean, that's kind of a nice couple of extra inches for the base stealer. So with those advantages that you now have, what about the other side? What is the most challenging part of stealing bases in today's game?
Challenging part, I mean, now you have, the pitchers, getting quicker to the plate, still throwing the ball extremely hard, so the ball is getting there quicker. Catchers, they're getting better and really utilizing replay now to their advantage, because obviously, back in the day there could have been a call and, might have been safer out and there was no replay. So now, by putting the ball in a certain place, now replay might come back and be in the defensive favor. So, those are things too now that you have to be aware of, those little small details, because now you can go back to replay and double check and see if a person is safer out.
How about the role of technology, Eric? We talk about that a lot with the batter and in the pitch, and we know, all of the wonderful technology that the guys have to look at every single at bat right there in the dugout. How much technology play a role in your position as well?
You definitely want to try to utilize it to your advantage, but at the same time, you still want to be competitive and go out there and play the game. So, you use the information now that is, pretty much at our fingertips to use it as a teaching moment or a teaching tool, and then definitely try to, make it translate quickly into the game. So, it's always pros and cons to everything, to everything in life. So, you definitely want to try to use it as a learning tool and be able to go out there quickly and make the adjustments.
No Victor Robles, no Luke Raley. I mean, a couple guys that were really being counted on to be part of the aggressive nature of this team, and yet 43 stolen bases. Mariners rank 8th in the league as of today. How have you done that?
Passing along information, guys. Just to making sure the guys are ready and hopefully well equipped when it gets into the game, so that when situations or scenarios that favor to their athletic ability arise, they're ready to take advantage of it. Like I said, you don't have to necessarily be the tremendous speed guy to be a good base stealer, but you definitely have to know what you're capable of, your athletic abilities, and when the moment arises that there's a situation where you might be able to take advantage and be ready. And the guys have done a tremendous job of that so far, really just being ready every pitch, for whenever their opportunity may come.
So let me ask you then about a guy who I think is probably the best base runner on the team. If he's not, he's certainly in the conversation. And I don't think anyone would call him a speed demon. He doesn't steal a lot of bases, but that's J.P. Crawford. What makes him such a good base runner?
He's trying to score at all times, which is obviously the objective of the game. He's looking at the situations, the scenarios of the defense, how they're playing. Obviously, he's a shortstop, so he's usually one of the main voices there on defense. So when he's on the offensive side, he kind of has a great feel, like the same word we've been using for what the defense is trying to do, the situation, who's hitting, and how can he get the extra 90 feet to get himself in a position to score. He's just always aware of what's going on around him, and definitely, like I said, looking for his moments that he can take advantage in, and he's ready when that time comes.
You've been around this game a long time. Your dad played a lot of years. You played a lot of years. Kind of curious now as you're in this role and in this clubhouse with Dan Wilson, a first-time manager, kind of navigating this team and the messaging. What have you seen from Dan from your perspective?
Dan's been doing a great job. He's very stern leader at the helm, and he's allowing everybody around him to do what they're best at, as well as the players, allowing them to play with freedom, allowing them to voice what they need to voice, and making sure that we're staying a consistent unit. I think so far Dan is doing a great job. I know he took over last year during the season, and I got to now be with him this off season and coming into this year, and I think he's doing a great job at the helm.
Did you coach against your dad a couple weeks ago, right, with the Angels?
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
You talk some noise?
It's fun. It's always fun going against them. We got to do it a couple years over when I was with the Washington Nationals and he was with the Atlanta Braves.
Okay.
And now we're back in the same division, so it always makes it fun going across against them. Just to get to see each other do what we do best, live. We get to watch it maybe on TV or read from afar, but when we go against each other, it's always fun. One, getting that competitive nature, and then two, just spending quality time with my dad.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Did you grow up in clubhouses with him kind of around the game?
Yes, I did the normal school year with my mom in New Jersey, and then summers I would go out and travel with him and be in the clubhouses. This is before they put a lot of those rules on, the age limit of who could be in the locker room and kids just being around. So I was able to be around all day. Like if he showed up to the park at 1:00, I was there with him at 1 all the way into the end of the game. So, I was able to not only see how he went about his business, see how other guys went about their business. And I guess over time just kind of formulated my own do's and don'ts over the years.
Well, he played, 15 years or so in the league. What was there a guy that you called uncle or something like a guy that you were especially close to as a kid that took an interest or anything like that?
There's a bunch of players. I know it's from his earlier days. Darryl Boston, who was with him with the Rockies. That was the early 90s. Still stay in touch with him. I call him Uncle Debo. I think that's really the only one that I call uncle, but as far as friends, and there's so many that, like I said, I guess picked apart each and one, one of their games and kind of formulated my own do's and don'ts. So, I just got a blend of a whole bunch of guys in there, but cool. He played with a bunch of great players, and like I said, I appreciate all of them.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Eric, last thing for me here, the impact of an injury last night. We see something. We don't see catastrophic injuries very often. We don't see ambulances come on the field very often, if ever at all. What kind of impact does that have in a clubhouse, both from the other opponent and also even last night on you guys?
Well, you never want anything like that to happen. Obviously, it does take a second nature to the game because now you're thinking from a health standpoint, and hopefully it's nothing that serious. Having the ambulance come on the field, but hopefully it's something he can have a speedy recovery from, and that it doesn't affect his career. That's the first thing that you're thinking of, because everybody comes to the field every day. They work as hard as they can, and give everything they can to playing. That you like, man, I hope this ain't over for him. Just of something like that. Hopefully he can still continue to do what he loves to do. And then, like I said, competitive nature, you want those, competitors out there. You know that they play hard, and whether they against you or on your team, just for the love of baseball, you want those type of players out there who always are playing hard. And like I said, it took us, the game took a second seed last night just because, your thoughts and prayers with Cabby over there with the Yankees, that hopefully he can come back and still be the same player.
All right, one last thing, and just to combine all the conversation we've had here about stealing bases with players from back in the day, did your dad at any point match up and play with Ricky? And if so, do you have a good Ricky story?
They probably played against each other. It was my dad's early years and Ricky's later years. I met Ricky actually at a celebrity softball game in Puerto Rico. So I got to, and I think I had to be maybe 12 or 13 at the time. And just to see the personality that you see on TV, that's exactly what you got in real life. So that was always refreshing to see that. I was like, no, that's him. That is him, and that is who you're going to get. And I think that's how a lot of us should go about it.
Is it possible to talk about Ricky Henderson without smiling?
No.
I can hear it. I mean, I can hear it in your voice.
I'm sure you're gonna have some kind of story or something that he made you smile or made you laugh. So like I said, that's how you want a lot of people to go about their life. Just because, like I said, what you see is what you're gonna get.
That's awesome. Hey, thanks, man. We appreciate you spending a few minutes with us. Fun to watch the team being so aggressive and running around and having a lot of success with it, and the base running and everything else that you bring to the table.
Go beat those Yankees tonight.
Yes, that would be nice.
Oh, we definitely going to try. I appreciate it.
All right, there you go. Thanks, man. There's EY Jr., Mariners first base coach, base running coach, and that's been one of the most successful parts of the team this year. Mm-hmm. They have been pretty darn good on the base paths.
Play fast, but never in a hurry. It's amazing how many different sports, basketball, football, baseball, right? JP, you ask him that question, and he can just slow the game down, right? The best players typically just slow that game down, play the game fast, but just never, ever rushed.
All right, well, we won't be rushed because we don't have like a ton of questions, but I think we've got enough to make a full answer the question jerk.
This is Brock and Salk's Answer the Question Jerk.
Keep asking questions. Come on, I'll answer them. Come on, I'm here. I'm going to answer your questions, dang it.
Answer the question, jerk. Well, don't just stand there. Answer the question, jerk.
All right, well, this one follows up, Brock, on the interview we just had. I want to know how much you both think a first or third base coach actually matter. Like, if they had a war, what would it be over the course of a season?
Interesting. I think the third base would have a little bit more impact.
I would think significantly more.
Yes. But that first base, kind of, as he mentioned, you kind of set the table. You're kind of the appetizer, right, to the entree. And we know what a good appetizer can do to a meal.
It's probably underrated.
Yes.
Right? People aren't thinking about, the conversations that go on over there, and
reminders
the
to who's a red light and
secondary
who's a green
leads.
light.
Yeah.
Yep, all the other stuff, all the timing mechanisms come into play with the pickoff moves.
But I would say max war you could get out of first base coach would be like 1.5.
And third base could be 7.5.
Whoa, that would be a lot.
5.5.
3.5. I mean, they're coaching, not playing the game. I don't know, man. That'd be hard for me. Go that high. Like, you think your third base coach is as valuable as Julio? Like, I don't think you're going to pay him that way.
Oh, kind of miss Beaker over there.
Stop it. It's not nice. You can get us in trouble.
It's probably your worst take ever, by the way.
What?
Answer the question, jerk. If Boomer Esiason's take was not met with much warmth here on the text toy and unanimity, dumbest take you've ever had on the show.
Ever?
Ever.
Oh, my God. I mean, how long? We don't have enough time left in the show to come up with all my dumb takes. What do you think my dumbest take is?
Lyle, what's your dumbest take so far?
Your dumbest take is every time you try to convince me that UW's a blue-blooded program.
My dumbest take is Mark Lowe. Okay, we're not going to forget about Mark Lowe.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
what about that those guys shouldn't be golfing one that you brought up earlier?
That's pretty stupid, too.
I'm sure Lyle remembers all that from when he was a kid.
Yep.
When you guys meet somebody for the first time, do you prefer receiving a formal greeting like Mr. Salk or Mr. Heward? Or is your first name okay to go with since you're in the public eye?
Yeah, first name.
I definitely prefer my first name.
Well, your last name's kind of become what's popular here.
Fair.
Salk.
Yeah, that's fine.
Doesn't it just make you feel old if someone says Mr.?
Yes, I have no interest in being called Mr. by anybody.
Now, we have a kid in the neighborhood, Hunter. He's a great kid. He's 23. Young man. He's just a little younger than Lyle. And it's always, hey, Mr. Ewert. Hey, Mr. Ewert.
Yeah, no thanks.
No, but for him, it's very natural.
Still, I would say no. And as I've mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of the like Mr. Mike thing. I would rather just give me the name. I don't need Mr. and then my first name. It's kind of.
You think you get referred to more by
Trashmaster's fine. Yeah, I'll have the Trashmaster hat out tomorrow.
You think you get referred to more like by strangers as, hey man, you're Salk?
Yes.
Or Mike?
No, it's Salk.
It's Salk.
Yeah.
Or Sock.
Or Sock, hopefully.
I very rarely call you Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I get in the mood, I'll call you Michael.
Yeah, and there's like 2 or 3 people in my life call me Mikey. That's it.
We also do have a lot of Mikes in the building.
Yeah, there's a couple.
There's also we do left.
You are not a Mikey. Mikeys are young and fun and vibrant.
I know. I've got 2 friends. My friend Nicola, my friend Bethany are pretty much the only people I know that call me Mikey. But they do.
Mikey. No.
And I gotta take it from them. I don't know why. I never liked it.
Lefko could be a Mikey.
No. Like a Mikey likes it thing. Jerks, after a long weekend away, what is your second best go-to comfort food behind the renowned sourdough jack? Yeah, I accidentally had a sourdough jack last week.
Saul, you know what I had the other day? I went to that Rockies game, right? Benetti was in town. You know about the only good thing about that stadium? The average worker there is 92.5. Can't help you at all. The best thing about that stadium, and how weak is this? I tried to walk around and buy a Tigers hat.
Right. Tigers
are in town for Jason's sake. I mean, they don't sell anything other than Rockies gear in the entirety of their whole stadium.
That.
No, it's stupid.
Okay.
Be better than that.
I don't mind that.
But you know what I ate that was phenomenal? Walking tacos.
Oh, the best. They have walking tacos there?
Yeah, they cut off the bottom of a Dorito bag.
Yeah.
And it was a Doritos with the cheese and the beans and the chicken and the sour cream and the guacamole. And that walking tacos Doritos bag.
Well, you know that this is what I do. But
it's your go-to.
But what I would tell you is as good as the Doritos are, you can actually get better than that. The Cheetos is even better.
Really?
Well, I've ranked all of the bags. I know it doesn't sound as good, but here's what you find. Is with the Cheetos, the flavor kind of goes away. You don't really taste the Cheeto flavor.
It's just the texture.
You just get the crunch. Yeah. And it's by far the crunchiest.
Oh, by far.
So Cheetos is actually number 1 on that list. I have found number 2 to actually be the Ruffles. Then Doritos, Fritos, and after
pie,
that.
Didn't it? It
Probably.
expanded from there.
Yeah.
It was like Fritos and chili in a bag.
Yep. Yeah.
Just how unhealthy do you think an individual Cheeto is?
One Cheeto? I mean,
if you were just to study
Ask Lyle.
Lyle,
would you eat one Cheeto?
Poison in his system. Wow, when was the last time you stuffed your whole face with a whole can of Pringles?
I don't know if I've ever done that. I mean, well,
Do you
that's
like
not
those
true.
Cheetos that have the spirals? The spiral Cheeto or Fritos rather? You ever had that? Like the honey something spiral Frito?
Oh,
What?
sorry. No.
Those are good. Yeah. Dude, don't mess around with those. Those are excellent. They're spiraled, so they have like even more crunch element to them.
Can I give you a very simple to answer that question? A very, very simple answer that is just good in a naughty way?
Yeah.
Shepherd's pie.
Ooh.
Shepherd's pie is just...
I never have that.
Oh, it's so good.
It's been decades since I've had shepherd's pie.
Mashed potatoes and just greasy ground beef. And
Yeah.
It just sticks to your ribs.
Salk, how long did that hangover last? It was 5 days. Yeah. Thanks. Getting old. It was 5 days. No big deal. Happens to the best of us. All right, we got to get out of here. Yeah, it's time for us to go. We got Bumpin' Stacy coming up next. Stacy's out there. She's giving me the evil eye. She wants to make sure we're out on time. All right, so tomorrow, Mike Mayock.
I got to really prepare for Pete.
At 7:30.
I don't know.
Pete Carroll at 9 o'clock.
We probably should chat tonight.
Yes, we should make sure this is well prepped.
Yes. Titus got a baseball
I will make some time
banquet.
for you, yes.
Let's take some time.
Pete Carroll tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
We got to get it right, Salk. We got to get it right.
We're going to need some Here's the Thing submissions for Thursday. We'll have Trash Takes tomorrow. Lots going on for the rest of the week. But yeah, the big one, Pete Carroll tomorrow at 9. Stick around for Bumpin' Stacy next. And until tomorrow, the hey.
What a day. What a day, Barnes.
See you, everybody.
Get to the chopper!
Bump and Stacy.
Jason Churchill joining us now. Might we be staring at a potential gap where you're still waiting on production from your pitchers and the offense has come back down to earth?
If I would have told you after about 40 games that the Mariners are going to be in first place, George Kirby will have not pitched, and the thing that's led them to this record would be the lineup, the offense, the run scoring, I think every single fan would have been like, okay, yeah, I'll take that.
Bump and Stacy. Weekdays 10 to 2 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at